the supreme dragon of the era of Tamers. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 351 Legendary Oath. The next morning, Chen Wei looked at the fierce legendary battle in front of him and couldn't help blinking his sleepy eyes. No matter how spectacular the battle is, it will be boring after watching it for a whole day and night. What's more, the legendary emperors move too fast during the battle. Even if Chen Wei uses the delusion-breaking spiritual eyes, he can't keep up with their battle scenes. In addition to the strong K Ling who still insisted on watching the battle, the lazy Yutong had already returned to the star ring to rest. Boom! As the scarlet beast fell to the ground again, a large amount of smoke and splash blood was raised. The Xianji divine bird soaring in the sky began to gather momentum, and an astonishing space wave was spreading from its head. The murderous Xianji divine bird isolated the space where the scarlet beast was at this moment, and then the wings of the bird deformed and rotated. The surging space waves turned into silver chains that tightly imprisoned it from all directions. A huge fortress made of silver chains appeared instantly. The scarlet beast opened its red claws, and an endless sea of blood surged, trying to break free from the prison of the repressive space. Seeing this, the black dragon raised the muzzle of the cannon on its back, and the towering cannon with a diameter of tens of meters instantly aimed at the scarlet beast. Then a golden light flashed, and a terrifying repressive force that was breathtaking suddenly erupted, and thousands of golden energy balls instantly vented out from the muzzle of the cannon without scruples. Boom boom boom, under the fire suppression of the black dragon, the upper body of the scarlet beast that was resisting was instantly submerged by the overwhelming explosion. Is it finally done? Seeing that the scarlet beast was suppressed, Chen Wei's eyes suddenly lit up, as if he felt that the national armor, Zuaneo Shenjia, was waving at him. However, the next second, in Chen Wei's shocked eyes, an exaggerated loud noise resounded through the sky. An extremely sharp black dragon claw broke through the legendary protective wall of the heavenly secret bird, pierced through the chest of the heavenly secret bird, and then slowly retracted in a burst of sparks. Looking at the infinite evolution armor, held on the claws of the black dragon of black armor, Chen Wei's pupils suddenly shrank. Why? Seeing this scene, Chen Wei couldn't help but take a deep breath. I just took back what belongs to me. Looking at the infinite evolution armor that was lost and recovered in his hand, a trace of excitement flashed across the face of the black dragon of black armor, and then he tilted his head to look at Chen Wei. You completed the final trial and gained control of the blackbird armor, and I can get back what I have. Isn't this a good thing to have the best of both worlds? As soon as the voice fell, the black dragon of black armor raised his head excitedly, the reaction furnace on his chest opened, and pressed the glittering infinite evolution armor onto his claws into his body. Buzz buzz buzz, at this moment, a dark light lit up from the surface of the black dragon of black armor. Chen Wei, who was standing on top of the black dragon, felt a tightness in his chest, and an unstoppable force suddenly pushed him away. Is this advancement or evolution? Looking at the black dragon in front of him, which was surrounded by black light and whose body shape and appearance were also changing rapidly, Chen Wei was a little absent-minded. If it was just evolution, it would be fine. Chen Wei could still accept it. If it was advancement, with a black dragon's strength of the 8th level, another breakthrough would be the legendary immortal demigod. Thinking of the impact that a demigod could cause, Chen Wei couldn't help but stare at the black dragon. As the black light flowed, the two dragon horns protruding backwards from the edge of the black dragon's skull actually bent forward, and the alloy wings behind it slowly disappeared, replaced by gorgeous crystal wings like black crystals. The mechanically covered limbs gradually grew brown and yellow flesh, and a pair of jagged golden crystals appeared on the chest. The red dragon eyes became darker and darker, and finally turned purple-red. The source force reaction furnace on the chest exuded high temperature and overbearing source force, emitting an unparalleled power in this world. Ha ha ha, I finally found my power. The black dragon clenched its claws, and the surrounding air was immediately squeezed by its overwhelming and terrifying power, making a sharp explosion. The sharp sound even made Chen Wei cover his ears. Fortunately, the strength of the black dragon after evolution is still the upper level of the 8th level, but it doesn't want to get rid of me here. Chen Wei glanced at the immobile Xianji divine bird on the ground and the scarlet beast in the distance that was almost completely swallowed by the silver fortress, thinking to himself, Even though he has a strong dragon affinity blessed by the power of the dragon, he still feels unsure when facing a proud legendary real dragon. Don't worry, I won't hurt you. After all, you are my benefactor. As if aware of Chen Wei's thoughts, the black dragon tried to show a gentle smile, but its domineering and ferocious appearance could only make people feel a chill deep into the bone marrow. By the way, do you want to gain control of the first Emperor of Ruins? Or even become a partner of an immortal dragon? The black dragon tilted his head and glanced at the scarlet beast. As long as you agree to hand over the core furnace of the blackbird armor to me, I can help you completely kill this scarlet beast, so as to completely control this first Emperor's ruins that can compete with immortality. Hearing this, Chen Wei's face remained unchanged, but he was shocked in his heart. Obviously, after getting the infinite evolution armor, the black dragon was not satisfied. Its current goal was to devour the core of the blackbird armor and become a powerful and invincible 9th level immortal mecha. Chen Wei fell into silence. He was a little unsure whether the black dragon's current strength was enough to violate a ban on killing humans in the first Emperor's ruins. Taking away the core furnace has little impact on the strength of the blackbird armor. The blackbird armor can still maintain its immortal level combat power. With my service, you have 2 immortal combat powers. With such a powerful force, no one can stop you even if you want to create a new Beastmaster Kingdom. At this point, a mysterious rune appeared on the claws of the black dragon of black armor, and the tone was a little tempting. This is my cooperation oath. As long as you nod and agree to cooperate and sign the oath, I will serve you for 1,000 years after the matter is accomplished. Hearing this, Chen Wei looked at the dazzling rune thoughtfully with his delusion-breaking spiritual eyes. Legendary oath, an oath made with the heart of a legend. Those who violate the oath will suffer the backlash of the legendary power, and even legends will be at risk of falling. Senior, there is no need for an oath. I believe in you. Chen Wei smiled and declined. He is not stupid. After experiencing the amazing scene just now, he only dares to believe half of what the black dragon of black armor said. This is the basis for our full cooperation. The black dragon handed the rune to Chen Wei with a smile, his tone tolerant of refusal. Chapter 352, Infernal Purgatory. Chen Wei looked up at the domineering face of the black dragon, and a trace of solemnity flashed in his eyes. Okay, according to the agreement, you have to help me kill the scarlet beast first. After saying that, Chen Wei stretched out his hand and held the legendary oath floating in the air, shining with brilliant light. After all, in the final analysis, exchanging the core furnace of the blackbird armor for the power of the black dragon is not necessarily a bad thing for Chen Wei. It may even help him smoothly control the remains of the first emperor and inherit all the inheritance of the first emperor. Even if you think about the worst, the black dragon chooses to break free from the shackles of the legendary oath after advancing to the immortal demigod. At that time, it will not be a loss for me to have the control of the blackbird armor, not to mention that this can also gain the trust of the black dragon. Seeing Chen Wei accept a legendary oath, the black dragon's heart was relieved. What it feared most was that Chen Wei would regret after obtaining the Zuinio God armor. If it had a choice, it really didn't want to attack Chen Wei, and this legendary oath was the basis of trust between the two parties. 1,000 years was too long for a legendary emperor, but it was just so for an immortal. If Chen Wei could really help it become immortal in the end, the Zuanjia Black Dragon really wouldn't mind helping Chen Wei to become emperor and establish a country, and serve for 1,000 years. On the contrary, it would just kill him and be done with it. Hold the legendary oath, and according to our agreement, swear on the rune with the power of your mind, and you can successfully conclude the oath, Zuanjia Black Dragon reminded. Hearing this, Chen Wei slowly pressed his mind power against the surface of the oath rune, and then began to swear. At this moment, a vast and magnificent legendary power burst out from the rune, and Chen Wei couldn't help but shudder in his heart. At this time, he could clearly sense that there was a strange energy on his source star. If he violated the oath he had made, the legendary power covering his source star would instantly defeat his source star. After Chen Wei concluded the legendary oath, the oath symbol turned into a mysterious aurora and rushed into the sky and disappeared. From today on, we are allies. The black dragon patted Chen Wei's shoulder happily. You don't have to call me senior anymore. My title is Lord Wu. Lord Wu, then the scarlet beast is in your hands. Chen Wei was not polite either, looking at the terrifying beast in the distance that was immobilized by the silver chain and commanded. Of course, the black dragon raised its head and roared, and the huge dragon body carried a terrifying storm to cut through the space and attack the Scarlet Beast at an extreme speed. Boom! The space collapsed. A burst of black and red flames rose from the ground and instantly swept the entire Earth. As expected of a strange beast that inherited part of the power of the Scarlet Mother, its body is so strong. Unfortunately, I have become stronger. A pair of gorgeous crystal wings dozens of meters long behind the black dragon spread out quickly, and the black light of the dragon wings flashed. The world suddenly lost its color. The majestic nuclear energy wrapped around the dragon wings even made the space tremble. Boom! Under Chen Wei's gaze, a huge firestorm that spread over tens of thousands of miles suddenly broke out, like the sun falling. Even though the distance was far away, there was a protective shield laid by the black dragon in front of him, and Chen Wei could still feel the terrifying high temperature that turned the earth into ashes and evaporated in an instant. The black dragon's strength is more than twice as strong as before. Chen Wei looked at the flame cage that swept everything, and a few horror flashed in his eyes. He subconsciously wiped the hot sweat from his forehead with the back of his hand. Yi, so strong. Kayling opened her mouth slightly, looking at the black dragon with a trace of yearning. Is this black dragon in front of her the one she and Yutuan defeated together? This strength is too strong. Huh? It can still regenerate. It seems that I still underestimated you. The black dragon exhaled a hot breath, staring at the Scarlet Beast whose blood had dried up and whose body had disappeared by more than half. The only flesh and blood left was a huge mouth. The corners of his mouth slightly raised. As the food that makes me immortal, you can die in peace. The next second, the black dragon opened its ferocious mouth, and the mad dragon energy cannon was launched. Countless rapidly expanding vast energy balls instantly enveloped and blocked the pool of flesh and blood, and a destructive force exploded. Swish! After scanning the battlefield and confirming that the Scarlet Beast had no bones left, the black dragon appeared in front of Chen Wei in an instant, looking a little nervous. How is it? Did you pass the trial? Chen Wei ignored the black dragon, and looked at the information that appeared in front of him with some surprise. Congratulations on helping the mysterious bird armor completely kill the Scarlet Beast, but because the mysterious bird armor, pseudo, died, the score dropped significantly, and you can only obtain partial control of the ruins. The trial passed, but because of the death of the heavenly secret bird, I was unable to completely control the ruins. Chen Wei glanced at the fragments of the mysterious bird armor that were shattered by the aftermath, and said softly. Hearing this, the black dragon's face froze. Although Chen Wei's words were very plain, it still heard a hint of blame, but it didn't expect things to turn out like this. If I can't get the infinite evolution armor, it will be difficult to kill the Scarlet Beast with my strength, the black dragon explained. Besides, it doesn't matter if you can't completely control the authority of the ruins. With my help, this ruin will be yours sooner or later. The black dragon nodded confidently, and then asked the question it was most concerned about. What level of authority do you have? Chen Wei frowned and said, my authority is only at the ground level. I can freely enter all areas of the First Emperor's ruins and obtain the control authority of all mechas in battle fortresses below the Overlord level, but I don't have the authority to command the Zuinio God armor. Hearing this, the black dragon's eyes flashed with a gleam of light, and he couldn't wait to ask, then can you enter the endless purgatory? Chen Wei tapped his fingertips, and a virtual three-dimensional large screen suddenly appeared in front of him, showing a densely packed location. Is it here? He pointed his finger at a large black shadow at the deepest part of the map. That's right, as long as you can open the passage to the endless purgatory, I can solve the rest myself. A trace of excitement flashed in the eyes of the black dragon. Although it can't compete with the Zuinio God armor in its heyday with its current strength, it is not difficult to defeat an immortal demigod whose spirit is close to exhaustion. Open the passage now. Chen Wei looked at the black dragon with a strange look. Good guy. This guy is really bold. He won't want to kill the gods. Yes, the black dragon nodded slightly. Seeing that it had made up its mind, Chen Wei shook his head and operated a large screen in front of him with both hands. Soon, a space passage with an ominous aura suddenly appeared in front of them. Are you sure you want to go? There is still a chance to regret now, Chen Wei kindly reminded. I never regret it. After saying that, the black dragon stepped into the space passage. Chapter 353 Happy Cooperation. It's like this again. Your old habit still can't be changed. Black dragon, aren't you afraid of being suppressed by me for 10,000 years again? When the black dragon stepped out of the space channel, The first thing he faced was the terrifying immortal pressure of the Blackbird spirit that shook the earth and the soul-piercing questioning. Noisy guy, from ancient times to the present, only the winner can represent justice. At the beginning, I was suppressed in this prison for 10,000 years because my strength was not as good as that of the first emperor. Now, my strength is stronger than you. The black dragon looked at the blackbird with indifference, and the black crystal giant wings behind him spread out. The domineering dragon power that could be called the limit of legend collided with the immortal pressure that was overwhelming. Boom, with a loud bang, in Chen Wei's shocked eyes, the figure of the blackbird, the immortal demigod, was at a disadvantage in this collision. Its figure set off a series of dark broken spaces in the air, giving people a vulnerable look. Sure enough, you have become weaker. 10,000 years of suppression have exhausted your immortal power. Now you are no longer my opponent. The black dragon looked at the embarrassed blackbird, a confident smile appeared on his face, and even changed his self-proclaimed name to the more arrogant Wu. It seems that this wave of gambles has been right. The current blackbird spirit has the strength of the 8th level at most. As long as it is subdued, it can completely forcibly devour the core furnace of the blackbird armor and undergo the final transformation to godhood. Puff, the blackbird spirit's face turned pale, and several drops of dim colorful blood slowly fell from the corners of its mouth. You are still as arrogant as ever. Don't forget that my true attitude is to be one with the mecha. The speed of the blackbird spirit suddenly soared, and it turned directly into a black light and sank into the mecha in the distance. Is that Ziling? Looking at the direction where the blackbird spirit escaped, Chen Wei's pupils shrank, and his eyes were fixed on the familiar light golden skeleton in a daze. Didn't you say that you can save your life after you have the He family jade seal? Chen Wei murmured in disbelief. Your teammate is not dead yet. She is just accepting the blood sacrifice inheritance of the body of the first emperor. The black dragon of black armor did not intercept the fleeing blackbird spirit, but looked at Ding Xiling with interest. The body of the first emperor is an extremely domineering physique. It cannot be cultivated without the destiny and great luck. Even in the Qin dynasty, many princes and princesses with pure blood failed and died because they wanted to inherit the body of the first emperor. Hey, if your teammate can survive, you can take her under your command. Every owner of the body of the first emperor has high potential and can at least become a legendary strongman in the future. The black dragon of black armor tilted his head and said to Chen Wei behind him. Let's talk about it after she survives. Chen Wei frowned slightly and looked at Ding Xiling with some concern. Ding Xiling's current situation must not be optimistic, as she almost thought she was dead even though she had the spirit eyes that could break delusion. If she was not careful, she would be doomed. Buzz buzz buzz, at this moment. As the spirit of the blackbird completely merged into the blackbird armor, its powerful chest armor suddenly lit up, and the huge black and gold wings flapped, and the terrifying pressure was immediately released, even covering the momentum of the Scarlet Mother who was suppressed under the claws. It is worthy of being the legendary blackbird armor used by the Qin dynasty to suppress the world. The momentum is indeed extraordinary, Chen Wei exclaimed, and his eyes subconsciously avoided the direction of the Scarlet Mother. There is no way, as long as he has the idea of wanting to see the true face of the Scarlet Mother, a sense of crisis of death will surge in his heart. Control your eyes, as long as you don't look directly at the Scarlet Mother, there will be no problem with the protective shield left for you. As soon as the voice fell, the black dragon roared and rushed towards the fierce and powerful blackbird armor. You are suppressing the Scarlet Mother while fighting me. I want to see how much strength you can exert. So what? I can crush a whole group of you with one claw. The eyes of the blackbird god armor were cold, and the terrifying claws directly tore through the space, tearing off the extremely solid dragon wings of the black armor black dragon at the speed of lightning. Roar, sudden and severely injured, the black armor black dragon could not help but roar, and his pair of purple-red eyes became more fierce. Looking for death, the side of the black armor black dragon that lost its dragon wing quickly deformed, revealing a streamlined golden shell emitting a strong and dangerous light. Then the flames at the end of the giant shell erupted, turning into a hot flame that instantly bombarded the Scarlet Mother under the blackbird god armor. The sorrow of the fallen god. In an instant, the blood sea where the Scarlet Mother was located burst out with blood arrows emitting a strange breath, trying to intercept the missile. However, before the blood arrows touched the target, with a boom, the missile containing terrifying energy exploded. A shocking source power shock wave completely erupted with the Scarlet Mother as the center. The bursting mechanical source energy destroyed everything with a devastating force. Black Dragon. Do you dare?" Seeing this unexpected attack aimed at the Scarlet Mother, the eyes of the Blackbird armor suddenly turned red. During this period, it consumed a lot of energy, and even absorbed a lot of Ding Xialing's inherited body of the first emperor and the pure source power of the He family Jade Seal to let the Scarlet Mother fall into a calm period, but it was all in vain. Woo 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 woo. As expected, under the attack of the Black Armor Black Dragon, the Scarlet Mother let out a wild laugh that sounded more like crying, and the blood waves around her began to twist and surge continuously, and a large area of unspeakable terrifying black shadows began to stir behind her. How unreasonable, the Blackbird armor shouted at the Black Armor Black Dragon angrily. You dare to be so reckless? Don't you think you can walk out of here alive? Kill me now if you have the guts. As for the half-demon godlike Scarlet Mother, I can deal with it after I deal with you, the Black Armor Dragon roared unyieldingly. No brain. Hearing the domineering declaration of the Black Armor Dragon, Chen Wei couldn't help but look up at it. Very good, then you go to hell. Do you really think that the infinite evolution armor you got is fine? As the Blackbird armor fell, Chen Wei saw a look of extreme fear on the face of the Black Armor Dragon. Then, dazzling colorful light beams shot out from the chest of the Black Armor Dragon, and finally wrapped around the whole dragon. Damn it, I clearly checked it and there was no problem. What did you do to my infinite evolution armor? The Black Armored Dragon looked at the Blackbird armor in horror and roared. Don't waste your efforts. Only immortal beings can break free from my Black Z domain. You arrogant person, use your body to calm this farce. As soon as the Blackbird God armor finished speaking, the Black Dragon turned into a beam of light under the effect of the light column and rushed towards the Scarlet Mother. Seeing this, the Blackbird God armor tilted his head and looked at Chen Wei with a somewhat friendly expression. Happy cooperation, my friend. Chapter 354 A Desperate Fight. Forget about friends. I just don't want this monster to escape from the ruins. Chen Wei shook his head slightly. Even if I didn't show up, the Black Dragon of Black Armor couldn't escape your grasp, not to mention that I didn't do anything. He understood that from the beginning to the end, the Black Dragon of Black Armor's ambitions that had been buried for thousands of years were all within the calculations of the Blackbird God armor, and the empty check issued by the Black Dragon of Black Armor had no possibility of being cashed. You are too modest. Without you delaying time, I might not have had time to launch the backend hidden in the Black Dragon of Black Armor. The Blackbird God armor glanced at the sea of blood below that was surging because of the awakening of the Scarlet Mother, and frowned. Even though it successfully subdued the Black Dragon of Black Armor at the last critical moment, it paid a huge price for it. Senior, there is no need to say more polite words. How is Ding Xialing now? At this point, Chen Wei asked with a little concern. The Blackbird God armor looked at Ding Xialing's pale golden bones with burning eyes, as if he saw the original Qin Emperor from it. The blood in her body is higher than I thought, and the immortal power drawn from the He family Jade Seal is also strong enough. If she can hold on for another day under the attack of the Scarlet Mother, she will definitely be able to inherit the body of the first emperor, but compared to this, what you should worry about now is how to prevent the Scarlet Mother from breaking the seal. Hearing this, Chen Wei's face changed, and then he looked at the slightly anxious face of the Blackbird God armor and took a deep breath. Senior, is it possible? Yes, it's also my fault for being too careless. The angry attack of the Black Dragon of the Black Armor not only caused the Scarlet Mother to enter the riot period, but also the Blackbird's Haoshan formation was on the verge of destruction. Now it depends on whether Ding Xialing can successfully sacrifice blood to the God Armor, so as to strengthen the seal. The Blackbird God Armor looked down at the Scarlet Mother who was howling crazily and furiously, revealing an expression of resignation. What if she fails? Keiling on Chen Wei's shoulder raised her head curiously, observing Ding Xialing with her eyes curiously. Then we will all die together. Not only you and your Beastmaster will not survive, but everyone outside the ruins will die, Zuaneo Shenjia said seriously. Keiling's eyes widened, her face full of disbelief. Senior, don't scare her. Touching Keiling's head, Chen Wei glanced at Zuaneo Shenjia. I'm not kidding. Once the Scarlet Mother breaks the seal, not to mention that this place will become a desolate place, even your country, all your family, relatives and friends will become strange corpses. Zuaneo Shenjia's eyes slowly emerged with a huge natural disaster caused by the Scarlet Mother in the Qin dynasty. Since the Scarlet Mother is so dangerous, why didn't the Qin Emperor kill it at the beginning, but kept it until now? Can't even the Qin Emperor kill it? Chen Wei looked at Zuaneo with a complicated expression. He didn't expect that he would encounter such a disaster that would not happen in 1,000 years just by participating in a joint military training. This luck is really amazing. That's right, even the Qin Emperor, who is closest to the gods, can't kill the Scarlet Mother, Zuoneo Shenjia said solemnly. As long as there is blood in this world, the Scarlet Mother can only be defeated and sealed, and will never die. This is why it is called a half-demon god. The demon god has no concept of death. If there is really a strong person who can kill the half-demon god on this world, I am afraid that its strength has surpassed the 9th level immortal and reached the legendary realm of god. Hearing this, a trace of astonishment flashed across Chen Wei's face. It is still unknown whether Donghu has a 9th level immortal demigod, let alone a god above the demigod. Kazi. At this moment, Ding Xiling's skull bones made a cracking sound, and then the spider web-like crack spread all the way to the chest, and finally extended to the bones in the thigh. Oh no, the blood sacrifice failed. Zuoneo's spirit's pupils shrank, and his eyes instantly cast towards the sea of blood. Woo woo woo. The surging blood waves gathered into a blood column that reached the sky and hit the formation fiercely, making a roar that could break the sky and crack the earth, and splash blood that could corrode everything, corroding the sharp claws of the Zuoneo god armor. The whistling blood waves even submerged half of the god armor's body. Damn it! How could it fail? Even the deep consciousness of the Scarlet Mother has awakened. The face of the Zuoneo god armor became more and more ugly. It just said that it was just teasing Chen Wei. After 10,000 years, it must be clear what the Scarlet Mother is capable of. As a result, the situation deteriorated sharply in the blink of an eye. Logically speaking, it suppressed the core of the Zuoneo's Haoshan formation with a black dragon of the 8th level emperor. Even if it could not make the Scarlet Mother enter the calm period from the riot period, it could greatly weaken the strength and perception of the Scarlet Mother. You know, this long 10,000 years of sealing time not only made the power of the Zuoneo god armor close to exhaustion, but also made the Scarlet Mother's strength less than 1/100th of it. Otherwise, even if Chen Wei and Ding Xiling, two low-level beast masters, closed their senses, they would be turned into strange corpses by the scarlet fluctuations of the Scarlet Mother's instinct. However, in the surprised eyes of the black-armored divine bird, the Scarlet Mother actually crossed the riot period and entered the bloodthirsty period of rapid increase in strength. Ah! As the Scarlet Mother shouted, dense red light suddenly bloomed from its countless magic eyes. The bones and flesh flowing on its body instantly formed two thick six-fingered red claws, and the lower body was formed by the endless sea of blood. 6 tentacles that were looming and gave people a sense of despair, and the left and right sides of the tentacles were attached to the bloody mouths of giant dragons. A life pressure that made people tremble and unable to move spread throughout the space in an instant. This is the power of the demon god who can destroy everything when he was born. Feeling this unparalleled powerful momentum, Chen Wei's eyes widened, and a drop of cold sweat could not help but flow down his cheeks. The whole person was about to faint. At this time, the divine egg above his source star seemed to be startled by this earth-shattering and ghost-crying aura, emitting a cold energy that could clear the mind. The situation has changed. Do you want to escape now or fight to the death? The Blackbird divine armor looked at Ding Xiling's body in the distance, which was shattered and fell into powder on the ground, and a trace of disappointment flashed in his eyes. Can you escape? Chen Wei looked up at it, his voice a little heavy. Smart. Once the Scarlet Mother breaks the seal, you will definitely have no hope of survival with your current strength, the Blackbird praised. But with my meager strength, it will be useless even if I fight to the death. Chen Wei looked at the Blackbird deeply. Hearing this, a dark light flashed from the Blackbird's eyes. That may not be the case. Chapter 355, Destiny. Above Yongli Island. A loud noise suddenly came from the huge space crack, and the countless strange beasts in the sky suddenly evaporated a large area, and 2 eye-catching terrifying figures appeared on the horizon. The figure in the front had a huge mouth like a crocodile, 2 slender claws growing on the nose, the whole body was blood red, and the lower body was empty, as if connected to dark space, and the momentum was very strong. It's a scarlet blood beast. Wang Xiangxin's pupils shrank, and he subconsciously controlled the Patriot Mecha to retreat a few steps. Name of strange beast, Void Blood Beast. Strange beast attributes, Scarlet System, Void System. Racial level, Legendary Emperor. Strength level, lower level 8 upper level 8. Strange beast skills, Scarlet Absorption, Blood Drop Rebirth, Void Body, Void Explosion. Strange beast introduction. The eyes of the void blood beast and the lower body that lead to the void have the ability to teleport over a long distance, and can instantly teleport the target it wants to move into the boundless void. Wang Xiangxin knew very well that as one of the creators of the Scarlet Disaster of the past 16 years, each Scarlet Blood Beast was at least an 8th level legendary being. Such a terrifying opponent was simply not something he could handle. If they really fought, he would be killed in just one round. Boom. Just as Wang Xiangxin was horrified, a tentacle that could not see the end instantly broke through the defense of the Patriot Mecha from behind him and took out his heart. Hiss, sweet and tempting breath, another monster with 4 limbs lying on the ground, with tentacles all over its head, no facial features, only fangs and holes, licked the blood at the corner of its mouth happily. Heart-drilling demon worm. Wang Xiangxin only had time to shout out the name of this monster before he fell to the ground due to extreme pain. Hiss. I didn't expect that this small island would have 6 epic beings. It seems that I can have a good meal today. The heart-drilling demon worm looked at the beast taming base, and the tentacles on its head flowed a pool of greedy blood-red liquid. Damn monster, Wang Xiangxin looked at the ghostly beast in front of him. Realizing that he was about to lose consciousness, he resolutely pressed the self-destruct button of the Patriot Mech. Buzz, a stream of light lit up from the core of the Patriot Mech, and all areas within 1,000 miles of the mech were instantly enveloped by harsh explosions and violent flames. Warning, warning, 2 legendary ghost beasts, the Void Blood Beast and the Heart-Piercing Demon Worm, have appeared in the Cheyenne Rift. Beastmasters below the King level, please evacuate quickly. Please note that Major General Wang Xiangxin and Major General Li Xianle have been killed. There are only 3 Patriot mechas left on the battlefield. The large screen in the office quickly transmitted the intelligence from the front line. Xiangxin is dead. Yun Xiangwan's face sank, and his right fist subconsciously hit the table. Hanbi Chilling said solemnly, it's time for us to take action, otherwise the front line will collapse soon. But even if we use the beast taming core to fight, we can only deal with 1 legendary beast. We only need to hold on for 3 minutes. 3 minutes later it will be their death. Yun Xiangwan tilted his head to look at the sky. While a red sandalwood heavenly venerable was commanding the pets and setting up the sky-breaking barrier. Infernal purgatory. Chen Wei looked at the bloody battlefield scene of Yongli Island shown by the Blackbird God armor, and the beast-taming core that suffered heavy casualties, and his expression suddenly became serious. Did you see it? With a gradual awakening of the Scarlet Mother's consciousness, the scope of the outside world's Cheyenne will become larger and larger. Now only a few legendary beasts have descended. When the Cheyenne domain expands to the extreme in this world, it may even attract the attention of a half-demon god. After speaking, Zuaneo glanced at Chen Wei subconsciously. At this point, only by using the He family Jade Seal to completely activate the Zuaneo divine armor can the bloodthirsty instinct of the Scarlet Mother be completely suppressed. The He family Jade Seal can only be activated by people who carry the destiny or people with great luck. Ding Xiling can barely be considered half a person who carries the destiny because she has the blood of the first emperor in her body. And you can defeat the Zuanjia Black Dragon at this age, even if it is a black dragon with suppressed strength, and obtain part of the heritage of the ruins, which means that you are also a person with great luck in some ways. Hearing this, Chen Wei's expression stagnated slightly. Senior, you don't want me to inherit the body of the first emperor, do you? That's not the case. You don't have the blood of the Qin Emperor in your body. You just need to activate the Zuaneo destiny in the He family Jade Seal. This way, even if you fail, there is no risk. If you succeed by chance, with the blessing of the destiny of the Blackbird, I can push the strength of the Blackbird armor to the limit, and then I can suppress the Scarlet Mother for 1,000 years. The spirit of the Blackbird took the initiative to speak. Then there is no time to lose, let's start now. Chen Wei nodded solemnly. Very good, as long as you can help me suppress the Scarlet Mother, I can give you the highest authority of the ruins except me. The Blackbird sent the He family Jade Seal that had lost its light to Chen Wei. What should I do? Chen Wei licked his lips nervously. It's very simple, pick up the He family Jade Seal and print a destiny seal on the Blackbird armor. The Blackbird looked at Chen Wei and said word by word. Don't think it's simple now, just picking up the He family Jade Seal can already stump 99% of the Beastmasters. As for leaving a destiny seal on the Blackbird armor, it is even more a son of destiny. Looking at the small and elegant jade seal in front of him, Chen Wei hesitated for a moment, and then placed his hand on the jade seal under Kai Ling's nervous gaze. Very good. The Jade Seal did not resist Chen Wei's touch. Zuaniao's eyes suddenly lit up. So light, so warm. Chen Wei took the Jade Seal in front of him and weighed it in his hand. Then his eyes focused and directly stamped the Jade Seal on the head of Zuaniao's divine armor. Buzz! With a burst of colorful light, an almost imperceptible faint mark of destiny appeared on the chest of Zuaniao's divine armor. Did it succeed? Chen Wei blinked in disbelief. Sure enough, as a traverser, he has great luck that ordinary people do not have. However, the spirit of Zuaniao sank and said with disappointment, "What a pity. It's a little short. Maybe this is fate." It's so strange, with a mark of destiny that Chen Wei made, let alone letting its strength temporarily recover to its heyday, it's enough to let it recover to 1%? Chen Wei couldn't help but let out a heavy breath, a trace of despair on his face. Could it be that he could only run away with the Shadow Secret Guards now? I'll do it. At this moment, the star ring on Chen Wei's finger flickered, and Yutong's figure suddenly appeared from the white talisman formation. Don't waste time. Before the Blackbird finished speaking, Yutong picked up the He Clan Jade Seal in front of it in Chen Wei's incredible eyes. How is it possible that the immortal Jade Seal that was appointed by heaven and has longevity can be touched by a pet beast? The spirit of the Blackbird was shocked. You know, even if the Scarlet Mother was about to break the seal, it was not so surprised. Chapter 356 The battle is decided. Could it be that Yutong is the destiny? Seeing the He family Jade Seal blooming with an unprecedented bright brilliance in Yutong's palm, Chen Wei was shocked at first, and then his face showed a look of sudden realization. As a sacred beast of destiny favored by the power of destiny, Yutong has a lot of destiny hidden in her body, or this is why she can activate the He family Jade Seal. However, it is not difficult to activate the Jade Seal. After all, Chen Wei can do it himself. The real difficulty is how to use the Jade Seal to seal the magnificent destiny mark. Thinking of this, Chen Wei held his breath and stared at Yutong without even blinking. Similarly, the Blackbird armor on the side also quickly closed its slightly opened mouth to avoid disturbing Yutong's ongoing Chengxin ceremony, but there was still some horror and misunderstanding on its face. Why? As the spirit of the Zuaniao divine armor, it was powerful enough to suppress a country's 9th-rank immortals. Even if it was instinctively resisted by the Heshi Jade Seal left by the Qin Emperor, it even wanted to hold the Jade Seal in its claws to absorb the immortal power, and it had to mobilize the source power to resist the repulsion of the Jade Seal. Well, this may be the last ray of life left by the heavens. Zuaniao looked up at the sky thoughtfully. At this time, as the brilliance of the Jade Seal became stronger and stronger, a divine bird from the ancient wild period fatally appeared in the sky. Li, the shadow of the Zuaniao that illuminated the world suddenly burst out with a thunderous and terrifying pressure, like a god descending to the world. This terrifying pressure not only made the world pale in comparison, but even made the Scarlet Mother who raised the sea of blood pause slightly. The heaven-ordained Zuaniao descended and gave birth to a god. Seeing this earth-shaking scene, the Zuaniao divine armor couldn't help but see the figure of Qin Shi Huang, who was brilliant and suppressed thousands of strange beasts. Under Chen Wei's hopeful gaze, Yutong, with the help of the power of the Jade Seal, had already climbed to the peak of the 4th level at this moment, and then broke through the limit, leaping to the 5th level, and even above the peak of the 6th level. The next second, Yutong laboriously pressed the terrifying Jade Seal in her hand that could destroy the world on the chest of the Blackbird armor. Boom! Because the distance was too close, at the moment when the Jade Seal and the Blackbird armor came into contact, Chen Wei only felt a destructive and vast energy suddenly burst out from it, and swept towards all directions with an unstoppable momentum. If you don't retreat, you will die. Feeling this terrifying shock wave, Chen Wei's pupils shrank slightly, and waves of heart-pounding warnings came from deep in his brain. Even the colorful spirit on his wrist was tense, and the dragon scales all over her body exploded. But Kayling still resolutely transformed into her original form, trying to use her huge body to become a solid shield for the Beastmaster. Meow! As Yutong let out an anxious roar, a faint light flashed on the Jade Seal, and the shock wave that could suppress the death of all beings below the legendary level disappeared instantly. At this moment, the Blackbird god armor slightly lowered his head and looked at the glittering destiny mark on his chest reaction furnace. And the immortal power flowing from the mark to his entire body mecha, and a hint of joy flashed in his eyes. Boom! Feeling the violent immortal power flowing through his body, the Blackbird god armor clenched his giant claws that could break gold and break stones, and a circle of majestic energy waves suddenly exploded. Thank you for your hard work. Now I am enough to suppress the Scarlet Mother and completely reinforce the Blackbird's Houchen formation. As the thunderous voice of the Blackbird God Armor sounded, its huge wings spread out, releasing boundless and terrifying divine power that suppressed the world, and then fiercely attacked the Scarlet Mother. 8 wastelands, flesh and blood pierced through, blood burst, and with just one strike, the domineering claws of the Blackbird Armor smashed the right arm of the Scarlet Mother into pieces. Are you okay? On the other side, Chen Wei, with a little worry, picked up Yutong, who had fallen to the lower level of the 4th level, while Kayling stretched out her tail and gently touched Yutong's head. Meow, meow, Greek letter Omega, it's okay, it's just that the source power is exhausted. Yutong shook her head slightly, and meekly opened her mouth to swallow the healing pill handed to her by the Beastmaster. That's good, thanks to you, otherwise we can only run for our lives. Chen Wei tilted his head to look at the Heshi jade seal that fell to the ground and lost all its luster, and a trace of regret flashed in his eyes. Seeing this, Kayling hurriedly urged her telekinesis to move the jade seal to the arms of the Beastmaster. After putting away this rare treasure, Chen Wei's attention was quickly attracted by the immortal battle in front of him. Every fierce collision between the Blackbird God Armor and the Scarlet Mother was like the end of the world in Chen Wei's eyes. If it weren't for the protection of the divine Agora in the Source Star space, he would probably die from the high-level mental crushing just by watching the battle. It looks like the battle will be over soon. Seeing that the Blackbird God Armor began to gain the upper hand and gradually pushed the Scarlet Mother's strange body closer to the depths of the formation, Chen Wei couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. On the other side, as the Scarlet Mother was gradually suppressed by the state-guarding mecha, the huge crack in the sky above Yongli Island began to shrink rapidly, and the strength of the strange beasts that emerged from the crack also dropped significantly. The sky is beginning to calm down. It seems that the half-demon riot in the ruins of the first emperor has been suppressed. The solemnity in the eyes of the noble woman disappeared immediately. Hearing this, the sky-color Luin on her shoulder couldn't help but let out a joyful cry, and a space formation covering the sky directly blocked the sky channel completely. Since the demon gods in the ruins will not be in trouble, it's time for you 3 old guys guarding the secret realm to take action. The woman looked down at the location of the first emperor's secret realm. Of course, a steady voice sounded, and the battlefield of the Yongli Island Beast Control Base, where blood and flesh were flying everywhere, shook suddenly, and 4 8th-level legendary giant beasts that made the earth tremble came down with a bang. The 4 heavenly masters finally took action. It seems that the battle is over. Yun Xianwen said with a heavy breath. Under him was a cold green dragon that entered the giant spirit posture, with a sacred dragon body covering the earth, and the momentum was comparable to that of an 8th-level legendary emperor, and it seemed that it could freeze all the creatures in front of it. Despicable human, the blood-stained heart-piercing demon worm felt the 4 legendary auras approaching rapidly, and the tentacles on its head instantly pulled towards the void blood beast beside it. Fool, why don't you open the void passage quickly? Do you want to die here? Under the order of the demon worm, the void blood beast shrank the sharp claws on its nose in a daze, and its empty eyes instantly stared at the heart-piercing demon worm. Buzz, the oscillating space fluctuations only lasted for a moment before returning to calm. Seeing this, the heart-piercing demon worm shrank its sharp teeth. Space blockade, since you dare to offend me, Donghua, you will not leave alive. The woman in the colorful dress suddenly landed beside Yun Xianwen. Chapter 357 The Last Gift. 4 legends, 1 epic comparable to a legend. You are really well prepared, human, the heart-piercing demon bug said angrily. Stop talking nonsense, dying here is the end you scum deserve. As the woman's voice fell, a burst of colorful flames that made the space vibrate broke out from the whole body of Kongshin Kalun. Obviously, this mighty flame was the Luin flame that was born when Kongshin Kalun exerted its own source power to the limit. As expected, Kain Lu Shengxin, one of the 4 heavenly masters of Zitan, is so powerful that even among the legendary masters, he is unique. Yun Xianwen's eyes flashed with a trace of surprise. Lu Shengxin, once the president of Zitan University, was at the 8th level of the Source Star, with the title of Kain, and the initial pet was Kongshin Kalun. It can be said that in the beast control world of Donghu country, and even in the beast control world of Blue Star, she is a well-known legendary master. Under the colorful flames of the sky-colored Luin that suppressed the space, Lu Shengxin killed countless 8th-order legendary beasts, and even one of the immortal 8th-order legendary beasts fell in her hands. Because her record was too dazzling, Lu Shengxin finally became one of the 4 heavenly venerables of Red Sand with the 8th Order Upper Source Star. You know, the title of Heavenly Venerable of Red Sand University can only be obtained by the existence of the Peak of Legend, so Lu Shengxin's strength can be imagined. As expected, under the gaze of Yun Xiangwen, the drilling heart demon bug that had just fought back and forth with him was instantly bombarded to the ground by the scorching colorful flames, and a crystallized flame pit was left on the spot. The extreme high temperature even made the ice overlord Hanbi Chilin couldn't help but step back a few steps. So strong, Hanbi Chilin stared at the sky-colored Luan, whose body was so small that it could be almost ignored, but brought it a deep sense of fear. If you want to kill me, you must be prepared to be buried with me. The drilling demon worm that suddenly appeared behind Lu Shengxin let out a roar, and the scarlet blood power in its body burst out. The dozens of tentacles on its head tore through the space, and the blood-colored energy on the tentacles surged wildly. Stubborn, Lu Shengxin snorted coldly. The earth suddenly let out a wail of unbearable burden. A lava dragon covered with black lava, with a faint red light flashing on its abdomen, and 2 huge dragon horns bent backward stretched out a huge dragon claw to hold the drilling demon worm in its hand. I got you, little bug. In the horrified eyes of the drilling demon worm, the lava dragon opened its bloody mouth and showed a ferocious smile. Facing the increasingly vigorous momentum of the Blackbird God armor, the Scarlet Mother, whose strength was still a little bit, was quickly suppressed, and the battle of the infernal purgatory was also coming to an end. Vicious, relying on the suppression of the Zuiniao's Haoshin formation, the Zuiniao God armor can be said to have vented all the depression it had suffered during this period on the Scarlet Mother. This formation can actually greatly increase its power according to the host's strength. Chen Wei looked at the fierce Zuiniao God armor under the blessing of the formation, and subconsciously activated a breaking delusion spirit eye to observe this terrifying formation that combines technology and runes. Zuiniao's Haoshin formation, a 9th-level immortal formation, a shocking formation formed by Qin Wang based on the power of the Haoshin stars and the mechanical source power condensed by the reaction furnace. This formation has the functions of suppressing space, isolating the source power of heaven and earth, suppressing the scarlet power, and blocking the mind. Even if it is severely damaged, it can automatically draw mechanical source power between heaven and earth for repair. Chen Wei's eyes flickered, and he felt that a series of obscure, mysterious, vast and difficult to understand information suddenly poured into his brain. This is the arrangement method and basic formation diagram of the Zuiniao's Haoshin formation. Chen Wei's mind couldn't help but tremble. With a partial knowledge in his mind now, of course, he couldn't arrange a high-end formation like the Zuiniao's Haoshin formation, but the basic Zuiniao Yunling formation still had a chance. You know, the Qin dynasty's development and application of mechanical source power was extremely perfect, and the Zuiniao Yunling formation was the representative formation of the beast control. This formation can absorb mechanical source power and transform other attribute source power to accelerate the growth and development of pets, which is similar to the strengthening of the power of the dragon control, but it does not have the powerful ability of the dragon control power to strengthen the potential of pets. Unfortunately, I don't know anything about formations. Chen Wei shook his head and sighed. Because he didn't have much time to practice and refine pills, instead of taking the trouble to learn the Zuiniao Yunling formation, he might as well find a mechanical pet to arrange the formation. Heaven's destiny to suppress the god. The eyes of the Zuiniao God armor burst into divine light, and the surface of the body suddenly lit up with a colorful brilliance. A black Zuiniao phantom with a terrifying momentum suddenly emerged from behind it. The majestic and noble immortal aura instantly attracted Chen Wei's full mind. In an instant, the shadow of the blackbird suddenly grew, and the divine light shone everywhere, and the surrounding space collapsed instantly. The burning shadow of the blackbird carried the earth-shaking flames and blasted the Scarlet Mother into the sea of blood with a crushing force. It's over. As the words of the blackbird armor fell, the space of the endless purgatory trembled, and black chains rushed out of the formation frantically, then tightly wrapped around the Scarlet Mother, and finally dragged it into the extremely dark blackbird-sealed space. Seeing that the matter finally came to an end, Chen Wei looked at the blackbird armor without showing any expression, and felt a little nervous. At the same time, after losing the shadow of the divine bird, the momentum of the blackbird armor began to decline significantly, but it still looked up to the sky and emitted a divine light. The next second, under Chen Wei's shocked eyes, a faint human-shaped shadow slowly took shape. Ding Xiling, Chen Wei's eyes suddenly lit up. He originally thought that this teammate, who he had not had much contact with, would die in the ruins of the first emperor. Now it seems that even Bai Luo has the skill of resurrection. As an immortal demigod, it is not easy for Zuiniao to resurrect Ding Xiling. However, even if Chen Wei waited until the spirit of Zuiniao was exhausted and exited from the Zuiniao armor, Ding Xiling still looked dazed and remained in the state of a spirit body. The beast master who died due to the inheritance of the body of the first emperor cannot use the resurrection skill to reshape his body and be reborn. Even the soul will fall into a state of confusion, Zuiniao said weakly. But if Ding Xiling replaces me as the spirit of the Blackbird, and accepts the feedback and complementation of the Blackbird armor, maybe there will be a day when she will be sane, and she can even transform into a human with the armor. Hearing this, Chen Wei was silent. What about you, me? After so many years, I should also look for the traces of the Qin Emperor. A trace of yearning appeared in the eyes of the Blackbird. As the most majestic existence close to the gods, I believe that Lord Qin Emperor will never die because of the long time. I understand, since the Blackbird has made up his mind, he naturally will not raise any objections. Thanks to your help today, I can stick to the mission entrusted to me by the Qin Emperor. The Blackbird glanced at Yutong and Chen Wei's arms with a strange look. Finally, I have a gift to give you as a thank you. I hope you can treat it well. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 358 Mechanical Dragon Heart. Gift. Chen Wei's eyes lit up. As a 9th level immortal, the top existence in Donghua, the gift that Zuiniao divine armor can bring out must be extraordinary. Zuiniao grabbed with its claws, and a stream of light flew out from the Zuiniao's Haoshan formation rapidly, and finally landed steadily in front of Chen Wei. Is this the star-level source reactor of the Zuanjia Black Dragon? Looking at the silver crystal in front of him, which was full of technology and shone with bright halos like stars, Chen Wei narrowed his eyes and quickly checked the information through the delusion-breaking spiritual eyes. Mechanical Dragon Heart, an 8th level mechanical and dragon dual system legendary source device, with a Zuanjia Black Dragon star-level reactor and infinite evolution armor, and then condensed by the 2 immortal powers, it has the incredible power to initialize the mechanical pet beast and thus achieve the foundation of legend. No, to be precise, it's the Mechanical Dragon Heart. Zuiniao shook his head slightly. With your current strength, there should be extra contract positions. There are still 2 contract positions, Chen Wei said truthfully. That's just right. Normally, only Beastmasters above the 6th level can contract legendary pets, but this Mechanical Dragon Heart can break the convention and allow you to successfully contract a mechanical war pet with a potential of a legendary emperor in the future, or even an immortal demigod when you are at the 4th level of the Source Star, the spirit of the Blackbird introduced carefully. To be honest, if Chen Wei hadn't helped it suppress the Scarlet Mother, it would not have been willing to give away the Mechanical Dragon Heart, which was originally intended to be refined into its perfect incarnation. This is too precious. Looking at the dense electronic patterns on the Mechanical Dragon Heart and the legendary power brilliance that was beating slightly like a heart, Chen Wei immediately suppressed the desire to take it. There was no way, perhaps because once bitten by a snake, he was afraid of the rope for 10 years. Now when he thought of the tragic end of the Black Dragon's calculation in the end, he couldn't trust the Blackbird. When he thought that the mechanical pet he had raised with great effort might be occupied by the spirit of the Blackbird, he lost his desire for this legendary treasure. Take it. There is no reason to take back what I have given away. If you really don't want it, you can also give it to the country behind you. As soon as the voice fell, the Mechanical Dragon Heart suspended in the air rushed into Yutong's arms under the control of Zuiniao. You should pay attention to one thing. The higher the race level of the mechanical pet beast hosted by the Mechanical Dragon Heart, the higher the potential for initial dragonization. At this point, Zuiniao sighed slightly. Unfortunately, in order to prevent the Scarlet Mother from escaping the seal over the years, I have put all the legendary mecha warships in the First Emperor's ruins into the formation. Even a legendary mecha I built using the resources of the ruins was given to the beast taming core of your era because of the Jade Seal transaction. Hearing this, Chen Wei raised his eyebrows. No wonder the Yongli Island beast taming core chose to use the He's Jade Seal to trade with Zuiniao for all the mechas and mechanical knowledge in the Master's Hall. You know, The value of a legendary mecha is naturally not comparable to the He's Jade Seal, but if the legendary mecha that can be mass-produced is compared with the unusable Jade Seal, then the value is another matter. In this era of strange beasts, and demigods, if Donghu has a group of powerful 8th level legendary mechas that can be assembled into an army to fight, such a terrifying force must be enough to suppress all ghosts that dare to challenge Donghu. This is the pass and key to the secret realm. In addition to the things in the Great Craftsman Hall, you can take away any resources in the ruins that you like. Zuo coughed weakly and handed the high-level royal power order engraved with a blackbird to Chen Wei. Thank you, Senior. Chen Wei did not refuse this time and directly put the mechanical dragon heart and token into the star ring. This mechanical dragon heart is a legendary treasure in any case. Even if he doesn't use it, he can sell it for a terrifyingly high price. Finally, I have another request. When Ding Xiling regains consciousness, I will leave the ruins and travel around the world. At that time, I hope you can take care of her. Of course, this is within your ability. Zuo looked at Chen Wei, and seeing that he wanted to refuse, he quickly added another sentence. Okay, Chen Wei nodded. Then goodbye, I hope we will meet again one day. With the flapping of the wings of the blackbird, Chen Wei and Kai Ling disappeared into the endless purgatory. How strange, besides the Qin Emperor, there are pets that can use the He family Jade Seal. This world is really full of miracles. The blackbird shook his head inside, then looked at the direction of the blackbird's house in formation with a cautious face. Every 10,000 years is another cycle. I hope that the descendants will be able to find a way to deal with the devil by then. The Tower of Domination and Truth. Looking at the familiar tower in front of him that looked like a crystal, Chen Wei immediately used his authority to open the map of the ruins and ordered, search for the number of explorers in the ruins and their specific locations. Ding. No life can be found in the ruins. Hearing this, Chen Wei looked at the invalid Kongming stone fragment on his wrist thoughtfully. Everyone has been teleported out of the Qin Shi Huang ruins. It seems that the training time has exceeded. Yi, treasure hunt. Kai Ling excitedly poked her head out. She had heard Zuo words clearly. If they didn't take them, they would have to take some resources from the ruins back. Meow, you guys go treasure hunting, I'll take a nap first. Tired Yutong opened her eyes with difficulty, yawned slowly, and then turned into a white light and entered the star ring. Chen Wei and Kai Ling looked at each other, and then their eyes were cast on the treasure house shown on the map. No, this place can also be called a treasure house? Where are the resources? Looking at the deserted hall in front of him, which was so empty that even if a mouse came, it would cry and leave, Chen Wei couldn't help but complain. In this treasure house, let alone the 7th or 8th level beast resources he imagined, there was not even a 6th level king resource. There were quite a few intermediate mechanical chips, which were barely worth a small goal when added up. It seems that I can only pick up some rags. Chen Wei tapped his finger in front of the big screen, and a passage leading to the outer area of the ruins appeared in front of him instantly. Obviously, his target was the king mechas that were gathered around the ruins. Through teleportation, Chen Wei quickly arrived at the Legion fortress that his team had never reached. A domineering mecha with a solid shield in its left hand, a sacred lightsaber in its right hand, and a pair of angelic white wings behind it was patrolling the sky. In the military camp behind this mecha, there were hundreds of mechas of the same model as it, collecting starlight from the sky. We've made a fortune. Seeing this, Chen Wei's eyes flashed with joy. Chapter 359 Azure Dragon Badge. If Chen Wei could get so many 6th Order King mechas, whether for personal use or for sale, it would be a huge fortune. Name of pet, Battle Angel, attributes of pet, mechanical system, galaxy, racial level, Brilliant King, strength level, lower 6th Order, racial skills, first attack missile, Angel nuclear bomb, starlight reconnaissance, spark burning, source energy conversion, small energy reactor. Introduction to pet. As the elite air force of the Qin dynasty that swept across the world, the Battle Angel has excellent reconnaissance and air combat capabilities. After using his authority to view the intelligence of these mechas, Chen Wei touched his chin with his hand and began to change the recognition targets of these mechas on the large screen in front of him. Warning: the Battle Angels are responsible for the energy collection of the base and are an important force in maintaining the operation of the base. Your authority can only change up to 10 Battle Angels. Seeing the red alarm on the screen, Chen Wei was slightly stunned. This mysterious bird spirit is not kind. He said that he could take the resources in the ruins as he wanted, but he only took away 10 6th-order mechas. However, thinking of the Scarlet Mother suppressed under the infernal purgatory, Chen Wei could only pick out 10 mechas with relatively outstanding strength from the hundreds of battle angels. Let's go. That's enough. Chen Wei looked down at the colorful spirit on his arm and strode towards the space passage to leave the ruins. There was no way. He and the Black Dragon of Zuanjia had wasted too much time in breaking through the barriers and suppressing the Scarlet Mother. During that time, the Qin Wang team directly moved away all the valuable resources in the Master's Hall, leaving little behind. But he didn't lose out. The 9th-level immortal source device, his Jade Seal, that could resonate with Yutong in the spiritual plant space alone was the greatest wealth of this trip to the ruins. When Chen Wei just stepped out of the First Emperor's ruins, a group of fully armed, bloody, and fierce beast control soldiers surrounded him. It's wartime now. Please raise your hands, show your identity card, and cooperate with the test. A beast control officer with a strong breath stepped forward and said. From the aura he revealed, it can be seen that this person must be a strong man above the king level. I am Chen Wei, a freshman of Zidian University who is in this military training. This is my Beastmaster badge and student ID. Chen Wei first raised his hands, and then slowly took out a certificate and Beastmaster badge from the star ring under the gaze of this strong man. Are you Chen Wei? At this time, a crisp female voice sounded, and a woman in a colorful dress suddenly appeared. Chen Wei's pupils shrank, and his eyes looked at this woman with exquisite silver headdress on her head, an ancient fan on her hands, long hair on both sides of her shoulders, and exquisite facial features. You know, since he obtained the delusion-breaking spiritual eyes, no strong man has ever been able to hide from his perception and get so close. Lu Xianzhen, seeing the appearance of the woman, the faces of the Beastmaster soldiers changed, and they all stood up and saluted respectfully. Xianzhen, hearing this title that even legendary strong men may not be able to obtain, even though Chen Wei was prepared in his heart, he still couldn't help but be shocked. You know, a legendary master of the Xianzhen level is like a nuclear weapon for any country. It is no exaggeration to say that this is equivalent to him encountering the final boss before leaving the novice village in the game. However, Chen Wei is a beastmaster who has seen the battle between the immortal and the half-demon god, and he quickly suppressed the surprise in his heart. No need to be polite, Lu Xingxin waved her hand slightly, and looked at Chen Wei curiously. As the previous president of Zidian University, she has heard this name no less than several times. When she saw him today, she was indeed extraordinary. Chen Wei looked at the girl who looked like she was in her 20s and followed suit. Lu Xianzhen, hello, yes, follow me, Lu Xingxin nodded kindly. The next second, Chen Wei felt dizzy, and the first thing that came into his eyes was an office with familiar furnishings and layout. Since everyone is here, the next step is to inquire about the confidentiality of the Qin Shi Huang relics, Yun Xiangwen, who is in the second seat, said. As the leader of the Yongli Island Beast Taming Corps, with the support of the military, even if his strength is only the 7th level epic, he can still have a strong position in front of many legends. Don't worry, it's just a routine inquiry. You just need to answer truthfully, Xian Honggai reminded. In front of the legendary strong man, lies are meaningless. Looking at Xian Honggai, the head of the battle department sitting in front of him, Chen Wei was slightly stunned. I have heard the Qin Wang team about the specific process. How is Ding Xiling now? Lu Xingxin asked. Chen Wei, who had already prepared a plan in his mind, immediately told everything that happened in the ruins. Of course, he selectively covered up some places that needed to be kept secret. In response, Xian Honggai and Lu Xingxin looked at each other, then smiled, and tacitly did not ask more detailed questions. After all, as a freshman at Zidian University, Chen Wei, as long as the general direction is not wrong, some small details are not important. However, this made it difficult for Lieutenant General Yun, who had been asking. You mean, Ding Xiling gave you a special 7th level shadow guard as a reward for your help, and the spirit of the Blackbird gave you 10 king mechas and the control of the ruins, and even a mechanical pet that is expected to become a legend, in order to thank you for bringing the Black Dragon to the endless purgatory and successfully suppressing the Scarlet Mother. Yun Xiangwen felt more and more outrageous, but when he saw Xian Honggai and Lu Xingxin's proud smiles on their faces, he chose to shut up. He knew very well how powerful the shadow guards in the First Emperor's ruins were, not to mention the special type of Imperial shadow guards. To a certain extent, Chen Wei, who had an imperial shadow guard who recognized his master and followed him as a bodyguard, could now be regarded as a quasi-epic beast master, and crushing a 6th-level king was as easy as drinking water. However, what Yun Xiangwen was most afraid of were the 2 legendary strongmen in the office, and the other 3 Xianzhen who still abided by the first emperor's ruins to prevent the birth of the Scarlet Mother. I understand, Yun Xiangwen nodded slightly. If it weren't for the fear that the abyss would break out in other forbidden beast areas in Donghua, and the need for strong men to guard and be on guard at all times, which made the legendary strong men in the military unable to spare time, it would not be his turn to be the general in charge of the army affairs. However, this time he led the Yongli Island Beast Taming Corps to successfully resist the arrival of the abyss, and obtained enough high-end mechas and information from the first emperor's ruins. His contribution is huge, and he may soon be able to break through the legend. And this is obviously related to Chen Wei. Thinking of this, Yun Xiangwen sighed, and his eyes looking at Chen Wei also eased a lot. In order to thank you for your great contribution to the suppression of the Scarlet Mother this time, I will apply to my superiors for a blue dragon badge for you. Chapter 360 Yellow Level Spiritual Realm. In Donghua, where dragons are respected, the supreme honor represented by the Azure Dragon Badge can be imagined. Each recipient of the Azure Dragon Badge can not only receive an Epic Overlord Cub or a 7th-level source device from the association, but also be able to propose, vote, and put forward their own valuable opinions at a national-level meeting, such as the National Beast Taming Conference. They have criminal immunity, and even if they commit a serious crime, they can only be tried by the Beast Taming Association. It is precisely because of this that the selection criteria for the recipients of the Azure Dragon Badge are extremely difficult. Even the lowest level Yellow Level Azure Dragon Badge can only be obtained by Beastmasters who have made great contributions to the country. So when he heard that Yun Xiangwen was going to apply for a Azure Dragon Badge for Chen Wei, Xiang Honggai's serious face couldn't help but smile. And Lu Xingxin, the legendary strong man, looked at Chen Wei, who had a calm face, with a little curiosity in his eyes, and nodded secretly in his heart. Chen Wei downplayed what happened in the ruins, but she knew very well how difficult and powerful the half-demon god, a strange creature that was different from immortality, was. The oppressive aura naturally emitted by the half-demon god alone was enough to make ordinary epic masters lose their fighting spirit, not to mention how much malicious torture they would have to endure to be hostile to it. And Chen Wei was able to fight the half-demon god with the help of the Blackbird armor, even if he was just an auxiliary, but for his courage and willpower to face the demon god, his future achievements were limitless. Hanjiao's vision of discovering geniuses is really good. What a pity, Lu Xingxin sighed in her heart, and her beautiful eyes closed slightly. One step slow, every step slow, unable to absorb excellent new blood like Chen Wei who had the potential to become a legend into the Lu family. This was really a pity for Lu Xingxin. You know, the upper limit of the lifespan of a legendary master is only 1,000 years. As the head of the Lu family and the only legend in the family, Lu Xingxin is relatively young among the legendary masters, only more than 400 years old. But she wanted to make the Lu family a legendary beast-taming family that would last for 5,000 years. To this end, she recruited many outstanding freshmen for the family at Zidin University during her tenure. Unfortunately, the most outstanding beast tamer among her disciples was only at the peak of the 7th order epic level. Because she was very jealous of Chen Wei, a genius who had the potential to become a legend. After explaining everything in the ruins, Yun Xiangwen and Shen Honggai both enthusiastically invited Chen Wei to attend the post-war meeting, but considering the He family jade seal in the spiritual plant space, Chen Wei finally declined. It seems that I have judged others by my own standards. The Yongli Island Corps did not intend to let me hand over the Imperial Shadow Secret Guards and Mechanical Dragon Hearts in my hands. Returning to the empty dormitory building, Chen Wei sat on the bed and sighed. Because you stayed in the Qin Shi Huang ruins for too long, the thousands of freshmen who participated in the military training had all returned a few days ago. Now he is the only freshman at Zidin University on Yongli Island. Chen Wei took out his cell phone which had been turned off for a long time. As expected, as soon as he turned it on, a lot of dense information instantly flooded the screen. After replying to all the messages of concern one by one, Chen Wei took out the mechanical dragon heart from the star ring. Should I sell this thing or keep it for my own use? He thought tangledly. The next second, the cell phone rang, and Chen Wei glanced at it. The contact displayed on it was Tanzuking. Open the door, Hearing the voice coming from the phone, Chen Wei blinked, got up and walked to the door to open it. Sure enough, the familiar figure of Senior Sister Tan was quietly waiting under the light. Senior Sister Tan, why are you here? Chen Wei asked softly. This year's military training at Zidin University is the only one you and Ding Xiling did not return at the agreed time, and with the outbreak of Xian'an, do you think I cannot come? At this point, Senior Sister Tan glanced at the sofa in Chen Wei's room, her pupils suddenly shrank, and the epic pressure on her body suddenly erupted. Come out. The next second, the invisible shadow guard turned into an elusive glimmer and rushed towards Senior Sister Tan. Stop, Senior Sister is not an enemy, Chen Wei said immediately. Shadow guard paused slightly, and the figure that rushed over also changed from extremely fast to extremely quiet in an instant. Looking at this obedient overlord Mecha, Tan Zuking looked at Chen Wei, then looked at Shadow guard, couldn't help shaking her head, and asked in disbelief, is this the overlord Mecha you got on the first Emperor's ruins? Yes, this is also thanks to Ziling's help, otherwise I can't let a overlord Mecha recognize its master. You really know how to surprise people, is it your contracted beast? Tan Zuking looked at Chen Wei in surprise. The power of this overlord Mecha just now made her feel a little dangerous, and its strength was obviously not comparable to that of an ordinary overlord. No, I can only command it to fight through my authority. Chen Wei shook his head slightly. The 7th level overlord is not a being that I can contract at the moment. Seeing that Chen Wei had an idea in mind, Tan Zuking breathed a sigh of relief and began to talk about business. Master has come out of retreat. In order to celebrate Master's breakthrough, Zidin University will hold a celebration on November 1st, and your initiation ceremony will also be held at that time. Hearing this, Chen Wei's eyes suddenly lit up. He did not forget that he still had a king dragon pet left with Master. Even the cold jade snake could become a pure-blooded dragon under the strengthening of his dragon-controlling power. If there was another king dragon pet, maybe he could use the dragon-controlling power to strengthen it into an unrivaled giant dragon. Wait, Zidin University held a breakthrough celebration for the teacher? Chen Wei subconsciously looked up and asked with surprise. Master has broken through to the Grandmaster? That's right. Thinking of the teacher becoming one of the few Grandmasters of Alchemy in Donghua, and even standing at the top of the alchemy world, Tan Zuking couldn't help but smile. According to convention, after you complete the initiation ceremony, you need to have a battle art to make an elixir to show your strength, so as to establish the reputation of your master. Tan Zuking looked at Chen Wei and said, do you want to choose a battle or to make an elixir? Chen Wei said without hesitation, sister, I choose to make an elixir. Very good. When the celebration is over, the teacher will hold an elixir refining competition for you. If you can defeat all the new generation and win the championship with an unstoppable momentum, the teacher may give you a 7th level top grade elixir, Shenji Pill, to help you see through life and death, see your true nature, and achieve the yellow level soul realm, thus laying the foundation for your path to becoming a king. Shenji Pill? Yellow level soul realm? Hearing such a generous reward, Chen Wei's face was filled with joy. Chapter 361 Infinite Dragon Emperor. Breaking through the king and lighting the 3rd spark is a cruel test of life and death for every beastmaster. Except for the beastmasters with strong backgrounds who are able to use pills to avoid the damage to the foundation of the source star caused by the backlash of the spark, ordinary beastmasters who fail to break through the king will bid farewell to the road to the king. In this case, a pill that can increase the probability of a beastmaster breaking through the king is priceless, not to mention the god-binding pill that can help the beastmaster master the yellow-level spiritual realm that can only be seen between life and death, and directly increase the probability of breaking through the king's 5 layers. In addition, Chen Wei's source star itself has the red sandalwood heart leaf given by the spirit of the red sandalwood sacred tree. In this way, without counting his own qualifications, relying on external forces alone, his probability of breaking through the king in the future has reached 80%, which is unimaginable for ordinary people. Thinking of this, Chen Wei couldn't help swallowing his throat. He must get this god-binding pill. Seeing this, Tan Zuking smiled slightly. If the teacher had not successfully broken through to the Grandmaster level, the success rate of refining the god-binding pill would have greatly increased. You must have been tired after going through so many things in the ruins. There will be a warship returning to Rosewood University from Yongli Island at 3 p.m. tomorrow. You should rest early today. After saying that, Tan Zuking got up and left. After sending off his senior sister, Chen Wei took out the glittering mechanical dragon heart again and fell into deep thought. The legendary war pet that can be contracted by elite beast masters is really tempting to think about. At this moment, the shadow guards on guard at the side had a trace of struggle in their eyes, and then slowly knelt down under Chen Wei's surprised gaze. You know, before he gave an order, the shadow guards would not make any unnecessary movements unless someone attacked. The next second, the mechanical dragon heart on Chen Wei's palm bloomed with a brilliant light, and the beating speed became faster and faster. Is this a resonance? Looking at the excited mechanical dragon heart, Chen Wei's eyes flashed with a trace of hesitation. Is it worth it? The super combat power of an epic overlord with a clear origin can completely make him dominate a city, and even be revered as a half-step epic and famous throughout the country. A legend represents a country's nuclear weapons, the strongest power under the demigod. These two choose one to focus on the present and the other to focus on the future. In addition, the mechanical dragon heart and the shadow secret guard may hide the means set by the mysterious bird spirit. Chen Wei hesitated. Well, let's see the destiny. The star ring between Chen Wei's fingers flashed, and the figures of Keiling and Yutong suddenly appeared in the talisman array emitting white light. Do you think this mechanical dragon heart should be used on the shadow secret guard? Chen Wei said to Yutong curiously. If you choose to gamble on luck, the opinion of a sacred beast of destiny is extremely important. Me? Oh, okay. Yutong glanced at the glittering silver heart in front of her, then looked at the shadow secret guard, and nodded slightly. As the youngest in the team, she really wanted to have another little brother or sister, not to mention that she didn't feel the threat of the mechanical dragon heart. Seeing the Beastmaster's eyes looking at her, Keiling thought about it and finally nodded in agreement. I understand. Glancing at Bai Luo, who was playing with a jade seal and waving his hand to show his agreement, Chen Wei brought the mechanical dragon heart and the shadow guard into the spiritual plant space to prevent the initial dragon transformation from causing too much abnormal phenomenon in the world. Spiritual plant space. Chen Wei first took out the mechanical chip he got from the ruins to increase the concentration of mechanical source power in the space, and then put the dragon heart in his hand into the chest of the shadow guard. Boom! A vast and earth-shaking force instantly erupted from the body of the shadow guard. Even if the shadow guard could not harm the target, the energy that was strong enough to distort the space still made Chen Wei subconsciously retreat dozens of meters. The sky darkened, as if a divine beast had been born. The light of the entire spiritual plant space was concentrated on the place where the shadow guard's chest and the mechanical dragon heart intertwined. A huge black dragon shadow flashed over the head of shadow secret guard. Her eyes opened slightly, and a wave of materialized air vented from her body in circles. At the same time, the mechanical dragon heart transformed into countless dense electronic lines that wrapped her whole body, and then expanded rapidly. In an instant, a giant egg hundreds of meters long, covered with metallic luster, like a pile of high-tech alloys, was madly absorbing the surrounding energy like a demon. Oh no, my medicine field! Chen Wei subconsciously looked at the 2 acres of fertile medicine field. Bai Luo waved her hand, and a black hole defense shield that could isolate everything instantly covered the medicine field. Not bad. Seeing that the spiritual medicine was safe, Chen Wei was relieved. He threw the top 3 source crystals in the star ring and 2 high-level dragon crystals next to the giant egg to prevent the source energy in the spiritual plant space from being swallowed up, and then looked at the giant egg formed by Shadow Secret Guard with expectation. At this time, the Shadow Guard in the dome was undergoing an incredible life transition under the nourishment of the legendary dragon heart, just like a fish leaping over the dragon gate, but all this came at a price. As the Shadow Guard's life essence quickly increased, the aura of the 7th Order Overlord on her body was also rapidly declining at a lightning speed. Only half an hour later, the Shadow Guard's strength had dropped from the 7th Order upper position to the 7th Order lower position, and would soon even fall to the 6th Order King, but her back also began to transform into a crucial mechanical dragon. Bang bang bang! First, a black mechanical blade stretched out from the dome, followed by 4 equally sharp blades breaking out of the shell. Is this the legendary realm? Feeling the breath that made his heart tremble in fear, Chen Wei subconsciously clenched his fists, and his face showed a bit of excitement. Yes, it is this unparalleled sense of oppression that deserves the title of legend. The next moment, the giant egg shattered, and the black dragon wings that were enough to cover the sky and the sun spread out instantly. The towering red-black dragon rose from the ground and raised its head to roar that shook the world. Under the extremely dark light of infinite evolution, a mechanical dragon that reigned at the top of all things completely descended on the earth. It was seen that its slender and sturdy body was 100 meters long, with a blood-red gem on the top of its head, 3 blood-red dragon horns bending from its head, and its body was covered with black crystal-like impeccable solid dragon scales. The huge dragon wings seemed to be burning with blood-colored fire, and there were 3 black claws covered with blue lightning on its steel-like limbs. Infinite Dragon King. Chen Wei subconsciously called out its name while looking at this mechanical dragon that seemed to be standing at the top of the world with his delusion-breaking spiritual eyes. Hearing this, the Infinite Dragon King lowered his head slightly, and his pair of tyrannical eyes examined this familiar human being. His eyes flashed quickly, and finally returned to calm. Master, a thunderous voice resounded through the world. Chapter 362 Devouring Dragon. Hearing the word master, Chen Wei's nervousness immediately dissipated a lot. A pair of eyes that can see through the vanity of the world carefully looked at this giant dragon that can bring infinite oppression and terror to people. At the same time, as if to express his submission, the blood-red ruby on the head of the Infinite Dragon Emperor flashed a ray of light, and the slender neck slowly lowered with a domineering gust of wind, and finally the huge and terrifying dragon head landed steadily in front of Chen Wei. Seeing this, Chen Wei strode forward, stepped directly on the majestic head of the Infinite Dragon Emperor and began to ride. Roar! The Infinite Dragon Emperor raised his head and let out a very penetrating roar, taking Chen Wei to fly at a meteor-like speed above the spiritual planned space. Meow, call sister. Yutong gently stepped on the mighty Dragon Emperor under her feet with her soles, and her expression was very happy. Roar, and the Infinite Dragon Emperor will not spoil Yutong. Except for Chen Wei, the proud Infinite Dragon Emperor will not yield to other people or strange beasts. Hearing this, Yutong narrowed her eyes slightly, and a round of illusory sun rose from behind her. The majestic momentum that was powerful enough to make the 5th-level leader of strange beasts lose the will to fight instantly erupted. Yutong did not want to compete with the admired Kei Ling for the title of Big Sister, not because her strength was weaker than Kei Ling, but because she did not want to fight with her beloved Big Sister. But a dragon pet that had just joined the team dared to be so proud and destroy the good atmosphere in the team. She could not spoil it like this. Feeling the momentum erupting above his head, the Infinite Dragon Emperor, who was unwilling to be outdone, raised his dragon eyes. Boom! The space suddenly shook. Like a volcanic eruption, a breath of emperor that covered the mountains and rivers vented from the Infinite Dragon Emperor's body, and collided with Yutong's momentum with great momentum, and countless exploding lightning burst out instantly. Seeing this, Kei Ling, who had always felt that her reputation was in name only, flew out from Chen Wei's wrist quickly, and then exuded a fierce fighting spirit. Not only Yutong, but even the newly transformed Infinite Dragon King also wanted to fight to prove that her reputation as an ace pet was real. Unlike the 3 pets who were full of fighting spirit, Bai Luo came to Chen Wei with a cup of spiritual liquid in each hand, showing an expression of watching a show, and handed the cup in his hand to the mouth of the Beastmaster. At this time, seeing the tense atmosphere, Chen Wei, who wanted to stop him from speaking, suddenly felt a sense of vitality, and blocked his mouth with a somewhat cold instrument. Glancing at the enthusiastic Bai Luo with a bad temper, Chen Wei drank the spiritual liquid in front of him. Since his body has become much stronger, he can now drink the spiritual liquid that was difficult to bear before as a beverage. Don't fight in the spiritual planned space. If you damage a spiritual medicine, be careful or I will put you all in solitary confinement and cancel the strengthening time of your dragon controlling power, Chen Wei reminded. Tisk, hearing this, Kei Ling and Yutong stared at the Infinite Dragon King, and finally looked away reluctantly. Chen Wei patted Kei Ling's head. If we really want to fight, this is not the time. When your strength reaches the 5th level limit, I will allow you to fight freely. After temporarily calming down the Shura field between the pets, Chen Wei focused his attention on the Infinite Dragon King's panel. Name of pet, Infinite Dragon King, Legendary Emperor Dragon, attributes of pet, mechanical, dragon, dark, racial level, epic overlord, legendary emperor, strength level, first order upper, racial skills, diehard, infinite evolution, shadowless dragon claw, ancient dragon wings, legendary domain, dark dragon cannon, anti-source defense system, self-transformation, 3-stage evolution, emperor pressure, more skills are awakening, introduction to pet, as a mechanical dragon transformed by the legendary dragon heart. This pet not only achieved the foundation of legend and obtained some of the Emperor's abilities, but also has the potential for infinite evolution. It can improve its attribute abilities by devouring 3 types of pets of the mechanical, dragon in dark systems, and strengthen the attributes in a targeted manner. Note, because the current Infinite Dragon King has 3 stages of evolution, and the current combat posture is the first stage of dragon body transformation, the racial level is only Epic Overlord. After thoroughly reading the information of the Infinite Dragon King, Chen Wei couldn't help but take a breath of cold air. It was the first time he saw a pet with such a fierce and violent racial skill. A dragon that can infinitely devour its opponents to evolve, and then establish itself as an emperor or even a god with thousands of corpses and blood, is truly the emperor among dragons. Chen Wei thought for a moment, looked at the Infinite Dragon Emperor in front of him and said, "Since you are so greedy, I will call you Tamed from now on." The title of one of the 9 sons of the dragon is not an insult to your identity as a legendary dragon. Roar. Tamed roared, a trace of joy flashed across his dark eyes, and he lowered his head slightly to show his obedience. Although it didn't know what the 9 sons of the dragon were, it could feel the recognition of the human in front of it, who was full of intimacy from this sentence. And for it, Chen Wei's recognition was equal to the meaning of its existence. So docile, Chen Wei touched the head of Tamed in surprise, and felt that it was not only smooth and solid to the touch, but also played a beautiful piece of music when tapped with his fingers. Even though I haven't signed the beast control contract yet, it still obeys me. This is because the racial skill of Diehard is still because of the master recognition authority I signed in the Shadow Secret Guard. Chen Wei thought about it and directly checked the skill introduction of Diehard. Diehard, born for you, die for you. As the creator of the Infinite Dragon Emperor and the user of the mechanical dragon heart, your command is the supreme destiny for the Infinite Dragon Emperor, even if it is a step towards death. Good guy. If Emperor Qin could have given the Black Dragon this die-hard skill, the previous trip to the ruins would not have had so many twists and turns. Chen Wei shook his head and shifted his attention to the core skills of the Infinite Dragon Emperor to see if there was any difference with the skills of the Black Dragon. Skill, Infinite Evolution, Level, 8th Level Mechanical, Dragon. And Dark 3 Series Legendary Composite Skills, Introduction. Depending on the different attribute strengths of the Swallowed, the Infinite Dragon Emperor's future evolution posture will also be different. Similarly, the stronger the race level of the Swallowed opponent, the stronger the evolution posture will be. Note, even if it devours weak races of exotic beasts, there is a certain chance that it can absorb from the weak ones the strong qualities that can be compatible with the Infinite Dragon King. After reading the skill introduction, Chen Wei smiled with satisfaction, and couldn't wait to close his eyes and meditate, communicating with a bright source star in his mind, trying to conclude a beast control contract with a Tamed in front of him. He couldn't make a contract with Bailuo, who was at the peak of his strength, but Chen Wei was still somewhat confident of a first-level Emperor Dragon whose race level was temporarily at the Epic Overlord. This chapter will be posted in advance, and the next chapter will be posted later. It's still being coded and revised. Chapter 363 Dark Dragon Canon. With a blessing of the power of controlling dragons, Chen Wei believed that his source star was enough to cross the 3rd level to contract the Infinite Dragon Emperor. After all, when he was at the 2nd level of the source star, he could still maintain the contract with a colorful spirit that evolved into the leader of the race, but the pressure of the source star might be a bit high. He did it as soon as he said it. Chen Wei moved his mind, and a 5-pointed star map emitting white light suddenly appeared in front of him. Then the star map fluctuated, and countless white rays of light shot from the star map array to the gem on the top of Taoti's head. The white light connected, as if it was telepathy. Chen Wei only felt that he was facing a towering mountain with an invisible top. The aura of dominating everything even made him feel the crisis of death. Boom, a thunder sounded on the ground. The wide array of the contract collapsed. Chen Wei subconsciously stepped back a few steps and rubbed his head, which felt a little sore. It's a pity that it was almost there. Chen Wei looked down at his palm. If he hadn't been so eager to see the full picture of Taote, he wouldn't have been shocked and awakened by the legendary aura hidden deep in Taote's body. So this is the legend. In front of that terrifying legendary power, even if Chen Wei practiced a Tyrant Dragon secret record to the 2nd level, he still felt powerless, as small as an ant. Perhaps he would have to wait until he practiced a Tyrant Dragon secret record to the 5th level, or even the legendary 6th level, to have the ability to face the legend. This time the contract failed. Chen Wei's face was not a trace of loss, but a bit of excitement. Because through this contract, he felt a legendary power that ordinary people could hardly touch, and he had more expectations and beliefs about breaking through the legend in the future. Roar, Tamed let out a low roar full of apology, and restrained the dragon power and aura that naturally permeated his body. If it weren't for its huge size and majestic dragon appearance, Chen Wei would have found it difficult to tell that this indifferent beast was a quasi-legend with legendary domain and imperial pressure just by relying on its breath and mental power. Don't worry, it's not your problem. Chen Wei patted the scales of Tamed, and with a thought, another white rune array appeared in front of him. He is no longer the weak beast master he was before. The backlash of a failed contract would only shake his mind for 1 or 2 minutes at most. Sure enough, under Tamed's best efforts to control it, Chen Wei successfully completed the beast control contract this time. A white light flashed between Chen Wei's fingers, and Tamed disappeared directly from the outside world and entered the star ring, and then instantly returned to Chen Wei. Obviously, compared to the slightly narrow interior of the star realm, Tamed prefers to stay by Chen Wei's side. However, Chen Wei had no time to pay attention to these things at this time. He only felt that a very small amount of source power, but of surprisingly high quality, was pouring into his source star through the beast control contract. Under the strengthening of this energy, his vitality, physique, mental strength and source star were all greatly strengthened. The only thing that made Chen Wei feel regretful was that the pressure on the source star was much greater. But it was still within his tolerance range. Thinking of this, Chen Wei looked at Tamed. The third level upper Xuanjia Black Dragon alone was enough to fight Kailing and Yutong. He wanted to know how powerful the first level upper Tamed could be. You know, not counting the awakening race skills and the standard skills of the legendary Emperor race, the Tamed alone has 3 8th level legendary skills, one of which is infinite evolution, and the other 2 are, Skill 1, Dark Dragon Cannon, level, 8th level mechanical, dragon, and dark legendary skills, introduction, based on dragon power, supplemented by the darkness that devours everything and lasers that can penetrate space. It is a devastating blow that explodes with all its strength, and has the terrifying power to sink a continent in an instant. Skill 2, Self-Transformation, level, 8th level mechanical legendary skill, introduction, by stripping off the armor and chips on the mechanical pet. It transforms itself, thereby completely inheriting and mastering the race skills and skill proficiency of the mechanical pet, even including secret skills. The first legendary skill can give Tamed extremely terrifying lethality. According to the skill description, the super destructive power of the Dark Dragon Cannon that can instantly sink a continent is enough for Tamed to complete the feat of destroying a country. The premise is that Taemed's strength must reach the peak of the 8th level to bring the Dark Dragon Cannon to its full potential, and this country cannot be a Blue Star 6 pole like Donghu and the Saint European Alliance, but a small country like Indo-Europe. Of course, Chen Wei is just comparing the destructive power of skills. In today's era of mutual cooperation and competition among humans, there is no need for him to destroy a country for no reason. As for the second skill, self-transformation, it can double the growth rate of Tamed. Chen Wei does not need to take huge risks to take Tamed to find and defeat those powerful mechanical pets. He only needs to buy some powerful armor components that have been updated by mechanical beast masters, so that Tamed can quickly absorb the experience and skills of his predecessors. Flying in the sky with Tamed, Chen Wei took a look at the thriving spiritual medicines below and decisively gave up the idea of letting Tamed experiment with skills. These spiritual medicines in the spiritual plant space are all his sources of alchemy. The bright moonlight embellished the dark night sky. At this time, a huge dragon-shaped shadow passed by a hill 100 miles outside the Yongli Island training ground at a high speed, causing a gust of flying sand and rocks and a strong wind. Tamed, fire Dark Dragon Cannon, and be careful to control the power to half, Chen Wei ordered, looking at the hill in the distance with an altitude of only about 100 or 200 meters. Because it was late at night, it was not good to make too much noise even when training pet skills, so it was enough to show half of the power of the skills. Hearing this, Tamed opened his huge mouth without hesitation, and the 3 curved blood-red dragon horns on his head emitted an extremely dangerous black light. A surging energy that was so violent that people couldn't help but tremble in their hearts slowly brewed in its mouth. With Taemed's current strength of the first level upper level, it should only be able to blast out a deep pit with a diameter of tens of meters. Chen Wei looked at the hill and thought. Boom! The next second, under Chen Wei's shocked eyes, a dark and somewhat crimson energy beam hit the hill. Then the fragile mountain exploded, and was crushed into countless dust and smoke by the unrivaled power of Tamed. looking at the entire mountain in the distance disappearing in an instant. The ground cracked and collapsed, revealing a huge deep pit with a diameter of nearly 1,000 meters. Chen Wei was silent. Is this a skill that a first-level pet can release? Roar, Greek letter sigma, not controlled well, only 1/3 of the power. At this time, Tamed, who released a skill for the first time, was afraid that Chen Wei would not be satisfied, so he roared and asked Chen Wei to let it show another dark dragon cannon to prove himself. Chapter 364, 4 Rosewood Statues. Can you release the dark dragon cannon again? Chen Wei looked at the Tamed under his feet in disbelief, and even the K-Ling on his wrist was a little confused. Just the Taode's dragon cannon that wiped out the mountain. This terrifying destructive power is almost comparable to the infinite ice tornado that K-Ling had to accumulate power for a long time before releasing when she was at the 3rd level. The reason why K-Ling can release the ice tornado many times is because of the continuous recovery provided by the frozen absolute domain. But how can the infinite dragon emperor at the 1st level? This is completely inconsistent with the law of conservation of source power. Roar, I can have another dragon cannon after resting for 2 hours, feeling the source power in his body that is on the verge of exhaustion. The Tamed nodded with certainty. 2 hours, looking at the source energy of heaven and earth that was swallowed and absorbed by the Tamed, Chen Wei looked at it with a burning gaze. No, it's getting late, and it's enough to show the skills to this extent. Now, instead of testing the skills, he wanted to verify whether the strengthening of the dragon controlling power had any effect on the mechanical Tamed. What an amazing destructive power! Is this the legendary pet given to Chen Wei by the Zuinio God armor? Even I almost got tempted. Lu Xingxin looked at the huge black shadow disappearing out of thin air in the sky, and said with a tone of envy. As the saying goes, people are pissed off when compared to others. Even though she had an extraordinary family background and was not short of beast-controlling resources, when she was at the 4th level of the Source Star, she could not even contract a legendary Emperor's pet, let alone a pet of the Overlord race. It was not until her Source Star broke through the 5th level that she successfully concluded a beast-controlling contract with the Overlord race with the help of her family. This kid's innate talent is definitely not a simple appraisal or spiritual eyes, otherwise he would never have been able to cross the 3rd level and contract with a mechanical dragon that can almost be called a quasi-legendary race. Next to Lu Xingxin, a man with a faint smile on his face, a short beard, deep eyes, and a spirit, who seemed to be able to see through everything, and who was probably only 28 years old, sighed. Quasi-legendary race? I said that there would never be a beastmaster in this world who could cross the 4th level to contract an emperor race pet. Otherwise, under the training of the legendary power of the emperor's pet, there would not be so few epic beastmasters in our country. Another burly man with fiery red hair jumping like a burning flame, copper bell eyes, and a fierce momentum said carelessly. As we all know, the pet of the legendary emperor race has a certain probability of feeding back to the beastmaster, allowing the beastmaster to experience a bit of the exquisiteness and extraordinariness of the legend in advance, so that the beastmaster can break through the epic, that is, ignite the Source Star spark to break through to the 7th level. Add 1 or 2 points. Some legendary ancestors of the beast-taming family will even use the legendary power of their pets to help the family members refine, so that the epic masters in the family can keep a continuous layer. Of course, there are also disadvantages to using the legendary power of a pet that is not contracted by oneself to refine the Source Star. This will affect the Source Star of the beast tamer by the legendary power, and even unconsciously embark on the legendary ancestor's beast-taming path in terms of cultivation, resulting in the legendary path of some beast-taming geniuses being cut off and unable to break through the legend for life. Therefore, this secret method of pulling up the seedlings to help them grow is generally only used on geniuses with decent potential but no hope of becoming a legend. In addition, the Emperor race can crush the super combat power of the Overlord race, and the legendary cub can be said to be a rare treasure. Generally, only legendary masters are qualified to hold a contract. There are even many epic beast tamers who will gamble their lives for a legendary cub. It's a pity to put such a quasi-emperor race pet on a teenager. If such a pet with great potential is contracted with an epic peak beastmaster, maybe our country will have another legendary strongman in a few decades, a handsome boy with fair skin, eyes like stars, slender figure, and arrogant temperament shook his head. In other words, once the mechanical pet in the ruins of the first emperor recognizes its master, it cannot be changed. If it is forcibly tampered with, it will explode. Otherwise, there will definitely be many powerful epic beast masters and even legendary strongmen in the beast taming corps and the beast taming association who will target this mechanical dragon. Due to the rules of the association, these beast masters will not act recklessly, but sometimes there will always be one or two rat shits when there are too many people, giving Chen Wei a seemingly fair and just transaction. Su Wenshi, what's the matter? From what you say, do you still want to rob? Chen Wei is an outstanding student in our school. I don't want to hear some bullshit news at that time. Hearing this, Lu Shengxin frowned. Did she know that the Su family now has an epic beast master who is looking for an emperor pet contract to cultivate in order to increase the probability of becoming a legend? Could it be that Su Wenshi has set his sights on Chen Wei? I just feel sorry for him. Su Wenshi glanced at Lu Shengxin with a complicated look. Whether it's luck or strength, I will never attack Chen Wei for his contribution in helping the Zuinio God Armor to resuppress the Scarlet Mother. Let's go. We should go to the first Emperor's ruins. As the leader of the four heavenly masters, the short-bearded man Han Xianlu turned his head to look at the Yongli Mountains and interrupted in a cautious tone. This mission is very important. It is related to the research and development of the national defense mecha and the suppression of the Scarlet Mother. There must be no mistakes. The next morning, Chen Wei stretched and got up refreshed. The first thing he saw was the TOD with a look of desire. Chen Wei smiled dumbly and said, "Don't stare at me. The strengthening of the power of the dragon is only carried out at night." Hearing this, Teodi's face was disappointed, but he still put his head tightly on the ground and firmly adhered to his duty as a mount. Seeing this, Chen Wei shook his head slightly. For him, the contracted pet is both a partner and a comrade in arms. Although Teodi is strong, it always gives him a sense of hierarchy, which makes Chen Wei a little uncomfortable. Buzz buzz buzz. At this time, Chen Wei's mobile phone rang, and the contact displayed on the screen was Lieutenant General Yun. The reward was issued so soon, Chen Wei's eyes lit up and he quickly opened the mobile phone message. Gather at the command room at 9 o'clock. Seeing that there was still plenty of time, Chen Wei hurriedly pulled K Ling to the bathroom to wash up. Unlike the lazy Yutong, seeing that he brushed his teeth and washed his face every day, K Ling also developed the habit of brushing his teeth and washing his face. But in Chen Wei's eyes, K Ling's behavior was not necessary. Because even if she doesn't brush her teeth, K Ling, who has transformed into an extraordinary creature, can still keep her mouth fresh, and even her saliva has a faint and refreshing fragrance. As for why Chen Wei knew so much, it was because he heard that the saliva of a pure-blooded dragon can promote the rapid development of dragon-type spiritual plants such as dragon tongue grass and dragon sun grass. In order to experiment with the specific effect of cultivating spiritual plants with ambergris, he had used a cup to obtain ambergris from K Ling before. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 365 Decisive Rejection. There was a knock on the door of the command room of the Yongli Island Beast Taming Base. Come in. Yun Xiangwen didn't even raise his head, frowning as he looked at the list of casualties and the compensation report of the Beast Tamers in his hand. In order to resist the coming of the Abyss, the Beast Taming Corps had 138 Beast Tamers killed in this battle, 1,822 seriously injured, and even 2 King-level Masters died. It can be said that the casualties were not light. Lieutenant General Yun, looking at the serious-looking man in front of him, who seemed to have a bit of sadness on his face, Chen Wei was slightly startled and couldn't help but give a standard military salute. You came at the right time, Colonel Chen. The rewards issued by the Corps have arrived, Colonel Chen. Chen Wei blinked. Was he talking about himself? That's right. Because you made great contributions during the military training, the military department specially awarded you the rank of honorary colonel. If Colonel Chen Wei wants to choose to drop out of school and join the Yongli Island Beast Taming Corps, with his contributions, he will at least be a powerful brigadier general in charge of 1,000 elite soldiers in the Beast Taming Corps, Yun Xiangwen said bluntly. Even though Yun Xiangwen knew that the probability of Chen Wei agreeing to drop out of school was very low, he was unwilling to give up after all and wanted to try again to see if he could recruit Chen Wei into his army. Before Chen Wei responded, the door of the command room suddenly opened, and a mature beauty with blonde hair and delicate face walked in. Lieutenant General Yun, The development teacher of junior brother Chen Wei has his own arrangements, so you don't have to worry about it. Tan Zuking looked at Yun Xiangwen with a hint of anger in her beautiful eyes. It's about Chen Wei's future development. I just give him another choice, Lieutenant General Yun said calmly. Thank you, General Yun, but I really can't command a 1,000-man army with my ability. Seeing the presence of his senior sister, Chen Wei decisively refused. You should do what you should do at your age. In Chen Wei's opinion, he is not suitable to stay in the army full of dangers at present, but should develop steadily in Zidane University until he becomes a strong man. What's more, his teachers and senior sisters treat him very well. Unless he has a problem with his brain, he will not jump out of Zidane University to choose Yongli Island Beast Taming Corps. Well, Yun Xiangwen sighed slightly. The star ring between his fingers flashed a faint light, and a delicate badge with a blue dragon dancing on the surface and majestic dragon eyes, as if with vast divine power, appeared in front of Chen Wei in an instant. This is the Zhuan level Azure Dragon badge. Donghu country has been established for 1,000 years, and the total number of Zhuan level Azure Dragon badges issued is less than 1,000. Even I haven't received a Azure Dragon badge yet. Yun Xiangwen smiled and handed the badge to Chen Wei. The winner of the Azure Dragon badge can choose a Overlord Cub, a 7th level source device, or a 7th level elixir that is rare for epic masters at any time at the headquarters of the Beast Taming Association. But compared to these material rewards, Yun Xiangwen values the meaning behind the Azure Dragon badge more. It is the symbol of the direct lineage of the Donghu Kingdom. The winner of the badge even has the opportunity to enter the list of beastmasters that the country is fully cultivating to deal with the threats brought by the strange beasts in the current era. This is an opportunity that no amount of money can buy. Chen Wei took the Azure Dragon badge and felt like warm jade. He could even feel a cold energy slowly flowing from the badge into his source star, and even his spirit couldn't help but be lifted. As a 7th level spiritual defense source device, the Zhuan level Azure Dragon badge can not only protect the host's mind and resist an attack from a hegemon not higher than the 7th level, including spiritual attacks, but also has the wonderful effect of concentrating the mind and energy to increase the speed of source star cultivation. Seeing Chen Wei's surprised face, Tan Zuking explained with a smile. Even though she was a master-level alchemist and had developed many high-level elixirs for the Donghu Kingdom, and even created the 7th level elixir, Huinin Pill, which could lock the lives of epic strongmen on the battlefield and sublimate their combat power to the extreme, she only got a yellow-level Azure Dragon badge. I see. Chen Wei nodded slightly and put the Azure Dragon badge close to his body. By the way, in addition to this, I have another thing I want to ask your opinion on, Yun Xiangwen said. Lieutenant General Yun, please speak. 2 blue lights flashed, and 2 beautiful and elegant real dragons, one large and one small, suddenly appeared in the command room. This is the cold-glazed dragon that attacked our team in Yongli Mountain Range. Chen Wei narrowed his eyes and immediately recognized the identity of one of the slightly smaller real dragons. In order to train your team before, I specially asked Xiaoliu to attack you. After that military training test, I believe you also have a certain understanding of the strength of the cold-glazed dragon. Yun Xiangwen touched the head of the cold-glazed dragon and spoke. Hearing this, Tan Zuking's beautiful eyes flashed. The dominant race cold-glazed dragon, can it be? Sure enough, the next second, Yun Xiangwen gently pushed with his hand and showed the clinging cold-glazed dragon in his arms to everyone. Xiaoliu has a rather stubborn temperament. I have spent a lot of energy over the years to find a suitable beastmaster for it. During this military training, your performance was not only excellent, but you were also the only new beastmaster who could defeat Xiaoliu, so I hope that it can sign a beastmaster contract with you and grow stronger together. What do you think? Yun Xiangwen said bluntly. Chen Wei blinked his eyes, feeling a little excited. After all, the cold-glazed dragon is an epic overlord real dragon. For such a high-level pet, especially a dragon pet, the beastmasters who want to contract it may line up from Rosewood University to Yongli Island. Even Chen Wei is now a little excited. But when he thought that the attributes of the cold-glazed dragon and the colorful spirit were both ice attributes, and the pressure on the source star load after he contracted the TOD was still relatively large, and the teacher had an extremely rare dragon pet that had not been contracted, Chen Wei immediately suppressed his excitement. Maybe it was a bit arrogant to say this, but for Chen Wei now, an epic overlord real dragon was really nothing, even if it was the genetic bloodline of the sea god. After thinking, Chen Wei looked up at senior sister Tan, as if asking for her opinion. As long as you like it. Sensing the message from senior sister's eyes, Chen Wei said with a hint of apology on his face, "Sorry, Lieutenant General Yun, my current strength is not enough to sign a contract with a 5th level Hanliuli dragon, as expected of junior brother Chen." Tan Zuking smiled. Upon hearing this, Han Bichiling's eyes flashed with a hint of surprise. She knew how fanatical human beast masters were in their pursuit of real dragons, and they were even willing to risk their lives for them, but Chen Wei actually refused. Yun Xiangwen on the other side, he didn't expect that what he thought was a foolproof and good thing would be rejected by Chen Wei. As for Chen Wei's lack of strength, it was just an excuse in his opinion. P.S. Thanks to Mo Ranqing Shiwan for the reward of 500 Kidian coins, book friend 20220425210942870 for the reward of 200 Kidian coins, Shenying Zhi Long for the reward of 100 Kidian coins, and book friend 20200129182802716 for the reward of 100 Kidian coins. Thank you all readers for voting and subscribing. Chapter 366, Fight Again. After thinking for a while, Yun Xiangwen looked up and saw the smile on Tan Zuking's face and the determination in Chen Wei's eyes. He smiled and said, "Since Colonel Chen thinks it's not suitable, then let's put it aside for now." Yun Xiangwen was also proud. You know, Hanliuli dragon is a real dragon after all, and the noble blood of the ancient sea god flows in his body. Many colleagues in the Yongli Island Corps want to introduce contracts to the children of the family, but he refused them all. So now Yun Xiangwen can't figure out why Chen Wei refuses his kindness, but it doesn't matter. Since Chen Wei is unwilling to contract with Hanliuli dragon and get closer to him, he will continue to maintain this military training relationship. However, at this time, Hanliuli dragon, who was stunned by Chen Wei's refusal, flashed a trace of anger in his eyes. Proud by nature, it has never thought about the scene of being rejected now. Hanliu Qilong cast his eyes towards Chen Wei and said angrily, "Why? It's obvious that my strength is stronger than any of the pets you have contracted." Xiao Liu, shut up. Hearing this, Han Bishilong looked at Hanliu Lilong sternly, and a terrifying aura of majesty burst out from her body instantly, and the temperature in the command room suddenly dropped below zero. Feeling her mother's anger, Hanliu Qilong shrank her head, but around her dragon eyes still stared at Chen Wei. "I believe in my pets. Their strength is not weaker than yours, otherwise they would not be able to repel you." Chen Wei looked at Hanliu Qilong seriously. He would not allow a real dragon who was defeated by him to despise his pet. "And there is already an ice-type pet among the dragon-type pets I have contracted, and your attributes overlap with my contracted pets." Just because of this, even though Han Bichilong on the side had excellent expression control, when he heard this outrageous excuse at first, he couldn't help but look at Chen Wei with a strange expression. There are many beastmasters who specialize in one attribute these days, but it is rare to find beastmasters who cultivate multiple attributes. They are basically from beastmaster families and have sufficient training knowledge. After all, human power is limited. In order to see the scenery farther, many beastmasters even contract all pets with the same attribute and abandon unfamiliar attributes, so that a single attribute can be brought to the extreme through team strength. In the all-member pet duel event of the National Beast Taming Competition, there are many powerful beastmasters who use multiple pets of the same attribute to bloom the powerful power to change the celestial phenomena, such as thunder, waves, strong winds, ice, sandstorms, etc. Impossible, absolutely impossible. Even though he knew that his mother would scold him later, the cold-glazed dragon still stretched out his slender neck and retorted, "I was careless last time. If it was a one-on-one duel, I would never lose." Hearing this, Yun Xiangwen's eyes were filled with anger, and he scolded, "Why, a 5th-level real dragon was defeated by 2 3rd-level pets, and you still don't accept it?" After that, Yun Xiangwen turned his head and said to Chen Wei, "I have spoiled it too much over the years, so that it has developed such a naughty character." A trace of surprise flashed in Tan Zuking's eyes. It seemed that Chen Wei actually commanded Kai Ling and Yutong to surpass 2 levels and defeat the cold-glazed dragon of the dominant race during military training. This is an extremely amazing record. It seems that she seems to have missed a wonderful battle that is enough to be recorded in history. Tan Zuking thought for a moment, and seeing the confidence on Chen Wei's face, she suddenly said, "Lieutenant General Yun, how about letting them have another fight? The difference of 1 level is like a barrier in the sky. If possible, She wanted to witness with her own eyes how Chen Wei created a miracle and defeated the dominant race, the cold-glazed dragon, by leaping 2 levels. Hearing this, Yun Xiangwen looked at Chen Wei, then at the cold-glazed dragon, whose face was full of dissatisfaction, and said in a deep voice, "Then it depends on Colonel Chen's opinion." "I have no opinion." Chen Wei looked at the cold-glazed dragon with his eyes full of fighting spirit. After the training in the ruins of the first emperor, he also wanted to know to what extent the strength of his pet had increased, and the 5th-level dominant real dragon in front of him was the best touchstone. The cold green Qilin looked at Chen Wei deeply and said, "Then let's go to the battle room of the base to fight, so that there will be less noise." Battle room at the Yongli Island beast taming base. The luxurious battle platform is about 2,000 meters long and wide, and it is equipped with a protective shield that can withstand the attacks of the 6th-level king. This amazing defensive power is enough for the king-level beastmaster to show his skills. Arriving at the platform, Han Liu Qilin immediately perched in the sky, and the majestic source power fluctuations surged from its body. The overbearing and surging overlord pressure was vented in the whole field in an instant. Boom! Han Liu Qilin is obviously a pet of ice, water, and dragon, but Chen Wei seemed to be able to see countless bursts of blue lightning from its violent momentum. Feeling this strange and vigorous chill, Chen Wei smiled slightly and began to consider whether to let Kailing or Yutong fight. As for the first-level Teoti, although Chen Wei believed that it could fight Han Liu Qilin for a short time with a dark dragon cannon, the gap in strength was too big after all. "Who wants to fight?" Chen Wei sent a message through the beast control contract. Meow. Oh, I'll do it." Chen Wei was a little surprised that Yutong, who is usually the laziest, was the first to speak. The next second, the white light of the star ring between his fingers flashed, and Yutong's sacred body suddenly appeared. Sure enough, it's this weird cat again. Han Liu Dragon squinted his eyes and looked at Yutong. He only felt that the dragon scales on his chest were aching slightly, but the momentum around him was getting more and more turbulent. If it weren't for the dragon scale protection set by his mother on it, I'm afraid that the earth-shaking blow would have seriously injured it, or even put it in a dying state. At this time, Yun Xianwen and Tan Zuking, who were sitting in the spectator seats, also looked at Chen Wei in surprise, with a bit of curiosity in their eyes. Could it be that what Chen Wei said before was not a lie, and he really wanted his pet to fight against a 5th-level overlord real dragon alone? What about the other one, in the battlefield? Seeing that Chen Wei did not continue to summon the difficult dragon, Han Liu Dragon could not help but ask, "Did you say it was a one-on-one duel?" Chen Wei was slightly startled. Hearing this, Han Liu Dragon's heart surged with an inexplicable anger. What does it mean? It is a 5th-level real dragon. It wants to defeat itself with a pet that has just been promoted to the 4th level. This is simply too much of a bully. This guy in front of me really thinks that he has a sure win after beating me once. You know, after the last painful failure, it has learned from its shame and has now broken through from the lower 5th level to the middle 5th level. Its strength can be said to have doubled. Even if it is 1 against 2, it is not at all weak, not to mention the little cat in front of it. Chapter 367, Easy Victory. "The battle begins," said the referee, Han Li Qilin. The next second, Han Liu Lilong's eyes condensed, and several brilliant blue lights flashed across its body. A series of shining lights instantly flowed through its body, and its already majestic and powerful aura soared a lot under the enhancement of a series of buffs. In order to avoid another rollover, Han Liu Lilong, who was serious, put on 4 enhanced skills in a short moment. These 4 are, Extreme Cold Armor, which can greatly improve defense, Ice Awakening, which greatly improves the power of ice skills, Sky Frost Ice, which increases the probability of skill Frostbite, and Hidden Cold Mist, which increases speed and concealment. You strengthen, and I strengthen too. Seeing this scene, Chen Wei immediately asked Yutong to use the core enhancement skill, Flame Dragon chasing the sun in an instant. A beautiful sun rose from Yutong's position, and the extremely high temperature that permeated seemed to evaporate everything on the platform. Chen Wei wiped the sweat dripping from his forehead due to the high temperature with his hand, while watching Yutong use the fire swallowing technique to swallow the sun that burned everything. Now, a gleam of light flashed in the eyes of the cold-glazed dragon, and a sharp cold breath came out of his mouth. Too late, Yutong felt the energy filing her body, took a step back, and an extremely terrifying red-gold flame instantly surged from behind her, and then met the sharp cold breath, causing a fierce collision. Looking at the two sides constantly releasing skills to bombard each other, sometimes the sky caused a violent explosion, and sometimes the ground was left with a series of potholes and gullies. Yun Xiangwen's expression also became solemn. If he was not mistaken, the enhanced skill used by the dragon puppet was a unique racial skill of the Yanduanghong dragon. However, what puzzled Yun Xiangwen the most was that the enhanced effect of this Yanlong's Yuri seemed to be a bit illegal, directly raising the strength of the dragon puppet from the lower 4th level to the peak of the 4th level, and it was only one step away from the 5th level. You know, even if the lower-ranked 4th Order Yanduanghong Long releases Yanlong chasing the sun, at best it can only raise its strength to the middle-ranked 4th Order. If the Yanlong chasing the sun released by each Yanduanghong Long can achieve the effect of Yutong, I am afraid that its race level has long surpassed a king, and can even be evaluated as the dominant race. In other words, it is not the Yanlong chasing the sun skill that is powerful, but the dragon puppet itself. Yun Xiangwen looked at Yutong with a slight flicker in his eyes. What a terrifying progress speed, it has only been a month, and it has become so much stronger. Tan Zuking frowned slightly, staring at Yutong with a pair of beautiful eyes. Generally, pets will increase their strength with a blessing of enhanced skills, but they will not be able to grasp the majestic power due to insufficient realm, and sometimes they will even waste power due to insufficient control. But she did not see this situation in Yutong. The skyrocketing strength seemed to belong to it, and it was completely driven by it, without even a trace of source power wasted. It is precisely because of this that Yutong, who is at the upper rank of the 4th Order, can confront the 5th Order Hanliuli dragon head-on. Not only is the defense twice as strong as before, but so is the speed and skill power. Chen Wei's eyes moved slightly, and he ordered, Emperor Yan charge. The snow-covered battle arena burst into fierce flames, and white smoke instantly filled the entire venue. As countless gravel burst out on the ground, Yutong, wrapped in flames, rushed towards the Hanliuli dragon in the sky like a cannonball, and the space wherever she passed was evaporated and distorted by the scorching heat. It's useless. Except for that skill, other attacks are ineffective against me. The Hanliu Chilling swept its tail, and countless ice pillars rose from the ground. In a blink of an eye, the entire venue was transformed into an ice forest. Boom! A series of ice explosions sounded. The firelight at Yutong turned into pass through countless ice pillars and finally appeared above the Hanliuli dragon. Heaven falling ice explosion, looking at the flames that were coming at the speed of light, the cold Liu Chilin raised his head and roared. The air flowing around was condensed by the cold frost in an instant, and in the blink of an eye, it condensed into a ball of ice emitting absolute 0 degrees to block in front of him. Just lose like this, looking at Yutong who was right in front of him, a trace of pleasure flashed in the eyes of the cold Liu Chilin. The next second, the dazzling cold light of the ice ball suddenly appeared, and the sharp ice crystals burst with terrifying cold air. The raging storm instantly swept Yutong's flaming figure. Soon, the frost storm was annihilated, and Yutong, who was frozen into an ice sculpture, slowly appeared in front of him. I won. The corners of the cold Liuli dragon's mouth rose slightly, and his eyes subconsciously looked at Chen Wei below. However, it did not see a trace of loss on Chen Wei's face, and an ominous premonition suddenly surged in his heart. Heavenly holy flame, seeing that Yutong had pulled the distance close enough, Chen Wei smiled. Zzzz. Hearing this sound, Han Liu Chiling's pupils suddenly widened, and a sense of crisis that almost faced death surged in his heart. Under his incredible gaze, a ball of silver flames that looked like a blooming spiritual flower was burning fiercely in his chest. It was not until this time that he felt a piercing pain coming from all over his body. It's just a small spark. Han Liu Chilin looked at the small spark that was almost negligible compared to its huge body, and his expression was a little dull. He could feel that the endless power in his body was drained away by the strange silver flame in an instant, and his body fell from the air at a high speed without power. Boom! A huge deep pit with a diameter of about tens of meters suddenly appeared on the battle stage. The winner is Chen Wei. Seeing the reversal of the two extremes, Han Bi Chilin looked at the flame that made her feel a little scared with a look of surprise, and then spoke decisively. Then it moved its body, and a cold air instantly covered the chest of the cold glazed dragon. The quality of this flame is so high that even my cold chi frost key has a hard time clearing it. Seeing the gradually extinguished sparks, the cold green chi dragon was slightly startled. It is worthy of being the holy flame of destiny that is comparable to the temperature of the core of the sun and can burn everything. Just a touch of it makes the cold-glazed dragon lose its combat capability. Chen Wei used his mind to remind Yutong to extinguish the holy flame of destiny, and looked up at General Yun and Senior Sister Tan, who were walking towards the opposite platform. It was a very exciting battle. Yun Xianwen clapped his hands. No wonder Chen Wei looked down on the cold-glazed dragon. It turned out that his second pet was a powerful pet with potential comparable to that of the Overlord race. It's progressing very quickly, which is worthy of encouragement. But you shouldn't have given up learning the art of alchemy recently, Tan Zuking said with a smile. Of course, hearing the hint in the words of the senior sister, Chen Wei smiled slightly. P.S. Thanks to Fang Dian and Zhao Wei for the reward of 100 Kidian coins. Chapter 368 Infinite Evolution. Over Yongli Island, a novel sci-fi fighter took off and soared. Chen Wei sat by the window, looking at the black Yongli Island that was gradually shrinking and finally turned into a grain of rice, with a somewhat emotional expression. There is no such thing as a peaceful life, it's just that someone is carrying a heavy burden and moving forward. I wonder how many demon god forbidden areas like Yongli Island there are in Donghua, Chen Wei thought to himself. All information about the demon god forbidden areas is top secret, but Chen Wei knows that there should be only a few similar forbidden areas, otherwise Donghua would have changed dynasties or even perished because of the half-demon god who was wreaking havoc on everything. Well done, I thought you would accept the cold glass dragon. Tan Zuking's mouth corners slightly raised. She knew very well why Yun Xiangwen wanted to give the Overlord real dragon to Chen Wei, all of which was nothing more than interests. Any questions? Chen Wei blinked. Could it be that General Yun didn't fancy his talent, but had other plans? Tan Zuking glanced at Chen Wei unhappily. The value of Overlord True Dragon is even far greater than that of a 7th level elixir or a 7th level source device. Would you give it away for no reason? Chen Wei shook his head. Yun Xiangwen's current strength has reached the peak of the 7th level epic, and he is only one step away from entering the legendary stage. At this point, Tan Zuking said in a relaxed tone, 10 years later, the TIE Turn Golden Pill will be opened at Zidian University. At that time, the teacher should be responsible for the alchemy affairs. What do you think he is after? TIE Turn Golden Pill? Chen Wei's pupils shrank, and the information of this legendary golden pill instantly flooded his mind. Golden Pill is the name of elixir above the 8th level, and TIE Turn Golden Pill is a very famous 8th level top-grade elixir. The more turns it has, the better the quality of the Golden Pill, and the stronger the effect of taking it. The Golden Pill is named because the highest number of turns can reach 8. Only alchemists above the Grandmaster level can refine this level of Golden Pill. Regardless of whether it is the first or 8th turn of the TIE 8 turns Golden Pill, they all have the effect of allowing epic masters to break through barriers and successfully build a legendary body. However, the 6th turn or higher golden pills can directly break through the source star of the beast master to the 8th level legendary realm. Can I affect the qualification of obtaining the TIE golden pill? Not really, Chen Wei said in surprise. It is important for people to know themselves. Even if he has high potential and fast cultivation speed, he does not think that he can influence the teacher's decision. Tan Zuking tapped Chen Wei's forehead with her white fingers. Don't think too low of yourself. The teacher likes you very much. Chen Wei was slightly stunned when he felt a gust of fragrant wind and a slight pain on his head. With your strength, I'm afraid there are not many students in Zidian University who can fight with you. Next, learn alchemy with me. After speaking, Tan Zuking patted Chen Wei's shoulder with a promising expression. Back to the dormitory, Chen Wei summoned all the pets and let them move freely. Roar. Greek letter Omega, I'm hungry. Teodi came close to Chen Wei. His huge dragon eyes showing some desire. Don't mechanical pets only need energy supply and armor modification? Chen Wei looked at Teodi in surprise. As far as he knew, mechanical pets had no concept of eating and drinking. The hunger that Teodi was talking about should refer to the devouring ability brought by infinite evolution or self-transformation. After thinking about it, the star ring between Chen Wei's fingers flashed white light, and a 6th level battle angel appeared instantly. Roar. Seeing the battle angel appear, Teodi suddenly became impatient, his eyes wandering back and forth between the mecha and Chen Wei, as if asking for consent. Eat. The huge dragon wings behind Teodi immediately spread out, and then completely covered the battle angel. Boom. The next second, Chen Wei only saw a series of bright blood-red brilliance surging between Teodi and the battle angel, and even the breath began to gradually rise. Warning. Warning, the battle angel is under attack. Please allow us to go into battle. Hearing the warning sound from the battle angel, Chen Wei smiled and used his authority to let it stay where it was and not to resist. Then he used his delusion-breaking spiritual eyes to observe the evolution of Tamed. Chen Wei would not miss such a rare opportunity to devour a 6th-order lower-level battle angel with the strength of a 1st-order upper-level. Moreover, he was curious about how much benefit Tamed could gain from this swallowing. Roar! After a long time, Tamed spread its wings, revealing the intact battle angel inside, and then shook its head with satisfaction, and a shining light of advancement suddenly bloomed from its body surface. Just the 2nd-order lower level, seeing Tamed advance easily, Chen Wei couldn't help but show a look of surprise on his face. As long as it devours the power of the 3 attributes of mechanical, dragon and dark beasts, it can become unlimitedly stronger. The way Tamed improves can be said to be the simplest and most brutal among all legendary pets. Chen Wei had nothing else but a lot of mechas. He had 10 6th-order king, battle angels, alone. In this way, there was no need to worry about the growth resources of Tamed in a short period of time. Thinking of this, Chen Wei tilted his head and glanced at the battle angel in the distance. As expected of a 6th-order lower-level king mecha, after 10 minutes of absorption by Tamed, the battle angel's condition not only remained good, but even its breath did not decrease. It was just that the mechanical energy in its body decreased by about 1%. Tamed, use self-transformation, Chen Wei said with a thought. Roar! Tamed looked at the battle angel with some disdain. The 3 blood-red dragon horns on its head suddenly deformed and stretched, and finally, under Chen Wei's curious eyes, they instantly spread to the sacred lightsaber in the angel mecha's hand. Buzz! As if it had encountered a natural enemy, the sacred lightsaber made a light sound, and the sword body trembled slightly. At the same time, Tamed's slender dragon tail also bloomed with a little starlight, and soon, a dragon tail wrapped in blue-green flames appeared in front of Chen Wei. Skill, Spark Burning, Level, 6th-order Galaxy Skill, Introduction. Use the power of the stars in the sky to transform into sparks and flames and attach them to weapons or the body, thereby greatly enhancing the power of weapons or the body's defense capabilities. Proficiency, Beginner Wada fast learning speed. Looking at the skills that Tamed has learned through self-transformation, Chen Wei couldn't help but smile. Using self-transformation once can get you started with skills that you have never touched before. If you do it 10 or 100 times, wouldn't Tamed be able to quickly cultivate the proficiency of spark burning to the mastery level mastered by battle angels? Ring, ring, ring. At this moment, the doorbell rang. Chen Wei frowned slightly and subconsciously stood up and looked towards the direction of the door. Chapter 369, on the list. Seeing Yu Zilman, who was wearing a white shirt and a black lace skirt with beautiful features outside the gate, Chen Wei was quite surprised to greet her. Long time no see. However, the next second, Yu Zilman accelerated and gave Chen Wei a warm hug. I'm glad you're okay. Chen Wei's body stiffened slightly when he heard this worry in his ear, and then a smile appeared on his face. Don't worry, didn't I tell you that I'm safe? Hearing this, Yu Zilman loosened her hands and looked at him unhappily. You didn't even tell me that you were back to school. If I hadn't seen your name on the Ziwei ranking and the Zixing ranking, I wouldn't have known that you were back from Yongli Island. When he heard about Yongli Island, Chen Wei's voice darkened. I'm sorry, as the captain, I couldn't bring Ziling back. The news that Ziling turned into the spirit of the Blackbird armor is currently a top secret of the military. General Yoon also made him sign a confidentiality agreement, so he can't even reveal a word now. No one wants something like this to happen, so you don't need to blame yourself, Yu Zilman advised softly. I just feel a little emotional. Chen Wei shook his head. Soon, after talking about the military training ruins exploration, Chen Wei started to talk formally. By the way, why are you looking for me? It's not a very important thing. After you were on the Rosewood Devil list today, many students were furious. Yu Zilman paused. Let me see. Chen Wei took out his mobile phone and went directly to the Rosewood University official website to check the information on the Rosewood Devil list. He was also very curious about what level he could rank. 3rd place on the Purple Star list, Chen Wei. 9th place on the Purple Star list, Chen Wei. After reading these 2 lists, Chen Wei was a little silent. The reason for his silence was not because his ranking was too high. On the contrary, he felt that his ranking seemed a little too low. Although it was a bit exaggerated to say this, after the trip to the ruins, Chen Wei was sure that his strength was enough to look down on the Beastmasters of the same generation. Even the senior students who were 4 or 5 years older than him had few opponents. The SYNOPSIS double ranking will be changed in real time, but students who are on the list for the first time can get a 1-month ranking protection period and receive school rewards. According to the credit reward, you can get 10,000 credits with your current ranking of 3rd on the SYNOPSIS ranking, and 5,000 credits with the 9th on the Zixing ranking, Yu Zilman said with some envy. You know, the top grade setting Dan that she had been thinking about only needs 1,000 credits, but Chen Wei can directly get 15,000 credits from the SYNOPSIS double ranking next month. Don't worry, it's just a ranking. Chen Wei casually took out a Chian Dan and threw it into Yu Tong's mouth. Hearing this, Yu Zilman looked at Chen Wei in a daze, and suddenly a crazy idea popped up in her mind. Could it be that Chen Wei now has the combat power comparable to that of a Master Beastmaster? You know, Han Wuguang, who ranks 1st on the SYNOPSIS ranking, is a Master Beastmaster with a 5th level Source Star and a great reputation, while Su Chengshan, who ranks 2nd, is a Beastmaster genius who has reached the peak of the 4th level Source Star, but has defeated many veteran Master Beastmasters across levels. Many students believe that Su Chengshan would break through the 5th level before graduating from the 5th year of college, and then surpass Han Wuguang, who is always at the top of the list. Chen Wei's ranking on the SYNOPSIS list was below these two, which meant that he also had a combat power comparable to that of a 5th level master. Your Source Star broke through to the 5th level. Yu Zilman stared at Chen Wei with her beautiful eyes, her tone somewhat incredible. Ahem, Chen Wei, who was drinking water, coughed twice, then looked at Yu Zilman speechlessly and said, how is it possible? My Source Star just broke through the 4th level a month ago, and now it has broken through the 5th level. Do you think I am a god? That's not necessarily the case, Yu Zilman murmured. In her eyes, Chen Wei created many miracles and did many things that Beastmasters could not do, so she always had strong confidence in Chen Wei. You think too highly of me. At my current training speed, it will take at least a year, or even 2 or 3 years, for the Source Star to break through the 5th level. Chen Wei put down the water cup and smiled bitterly. While Chen Wei and Yu Zilman were reminiscing about the past, the new rankings of the Rosewood Devil list had already been known to most of the students at Rosewood University. For a time, many students were discussing it, and even the comments below the Rosewood University rankings were occupied by 999 plus comments. What a joke. A freshman who just entered Rosewood University and ranked 1st can be ranked 3rd on the Purple Star ranking. Is there no problem with this school system? According to past practice, every year the top freshman of Rosewood University has to settle down for 1 or 2 years before he can be on the top 100 of the Purple Star ranking in his junior or even senior year. How can Chen Wei do that? Why? To be on the Purple Star ranking is based on strength. Since the school dares to rank like this, it means that Chen Wei is definitely extraordinary. Which student who can enter Rosewood University is not a top genius? As we all know, the difference of 1 year in training time is enough to create a huge gap between beast-taming geniuses, not to mention 4 or 5 years of training time. In terms of strength, let alone Gao Jingshen, who was originally ranked 3rd on the Purple Star ranking, I don't think Chen Wei can beat Deng Gaojin, who is ranked 10th. In such a lively discussion, some people felt that Chen Wei was a rare genius in 1,000 years. His proud talent in both beast taming and alchemy was enough to even rival the legendary beast tamers recorded in history. There are also some conspiracy theorists who think that Chen Wei may have good talent, but in order to create a god, Zidane University tried to create a powerful beastmaster who could suppress the contemporary world with the momentum of cohesion, so it exaggerated Chen Wei's talent. In a luxurious villa with elegant decoration, a handsome and elegant nobleman with black hair and black eyes, wearing a slim shirt and black trousers, put his mobile phone on the exquisite table polished by the source crystal mine. Interesting, a freshman can actually take my place. This person is Gao Jingshen, a senior student of the Beastmaster department, ranked 3rd on the SYNOPSIS list, and is also a famous 4th-level peak Beastmaster in Zidane University. Beside him, a woman with a sweet temperament and wearing a cheongsam said angrily, "Brother, Zidane University gave your place to Chen Wei without a ranking battle. This is really too much. I've said it several times, don't be anxious when something happens." Gao Jingsheng looked up at the woman. "But, don't say buts. I don't believe that Rosewood University will force a weak Beastmaster to a high position." Gao Jingsheng shook his head. To be honest, I would rather make friends with a genius who is only 19 years old and ranks 3rd in Zhui and 9th in Xiexing than offend him. Do you understand? P.S. Thanks to One Night Fish and Dragon Dance Emperor for the reward of 100 starting point coins, and thanks to Leaves Following the Wind for the reward of 100 starting point coins. Chapter 370 Rosewood Society. Brother, if this continues, the students of Zidian University will say that you are not as good as Chen Wei. This will have a great impact on the reputation of the Gaoling Battle Club we founded. The Chongsam woman showed a puzzled look on her face. In her opinion, as long as Gao Jingsheng publicly challenged Chen Wei, the adverse effects caused by the change of rankings during this period would disappear instantly. As for the failure of the battle, it is absolutely impossible. You underestimate the value of the Zhui double list. Now everyone is watching, why should we be the first to take the lead? It's just that the ranking of the Zhui list will drop 1 place, and the credits will be reduced. I can afford this price. At this point, Gao Jingsheng looked at his sister with burning eyes. Compared to the lost credits, don't you think we can use this incident to establish a good relationship with this new star with unlimited potential? Hearing this, the Chongsam woman looked at Gao Jingsheng in disbelief. Is this still the big brother she has always been proud of? While the outside world was talking about it, Chen Wei had already followed Yu Zilman to this Heaton building of Zidian University, and attracted a lot of hot eyes along the way. Sensing the gazes of the people around him, Chen Wei shrugged slightly and walked into classroom 303 with Yu Zilman at an unhurried pace. At this time, many students in the classroom had gathered into small groups with clear boundaries and were chatting, and the atmosphere was a bit noisy. Chen Wei recognized the team members who were sitting in the center of the classroom at first sight. They were very eye-catching in both temperament and appearance. Captain, here. Seeing Chen Wei appear, Yu Yang quickly raised his right hand to signal, his face full of excitement. Is he Chen Wei who is in the top 10 of the double list today? Hearing the captain mentioned by Yu Yang, many well-informed students immediately looked at Chen Wei with surprised eyes. Because these students are the leaders of the group, other students also followed suit and looked at Chen Wei. The noisy classroom became silent at this moment. Chen Wei frowned, ignored the gazes around him, and walked towards the crowd with Yu Zilman. Yu Yang opened his mouth, his face was tangled, and he seemed to have a lot to say, but in the end he whispered, "Long time no see, Captain." Although the contact time was only 1 month, for Yu Yang, Chen Wei was not only a like-minded friend on the road of alchemy, but also a good teacher and captain who was good at teaching. So when he learned that Chen Wei had delayed the military training time, he was the one who was most worried about Chen Wei and the team except Yu Zilman. "Why are you all here?" Chen Wei asked curiously. This class was a course he chose temporarily. It was a large interest class in assembly and cultivation in the mechanical department. The probability of meeting by chance should be extremely low. Everyone misses you, so I told everyone your course information, Yu Zilman, who was sitting next to him, said. When Chen Wei and the team members were simply reminiscing about the past, the time quickly came to 2 o'clock. A teacher in his 30s, with a serious face, a square face, and wearing a white research suit, walked up to the podium quickly. "I'm Wang Haodang, the lecturer of the mechanical training course. Next, I will explain to you the 3 important knowledge points that you need to pay attention to when training mechanical pets." Teacher Wang waved his hand, and a large 3-dimensional screen full of technology instantly appeared in front of the blackboard. As the tutorial became more and more in-depth, Chen Wei took out his notes and carefully wrote down the important knowledge points. Since he had contracted a mechanical pet like Teodi, he needed to understand all the knowledge points of training and strengthening mechanical pets, so that he could be called a qualified beastmaster. I haven't seen Chen Wei so serious for a long time. Yu Zilman, who was standing aside, gradually lost herself in a trance as she looked at Chen Wei's face. As for listening to the class, she, who focused on the ice system, could not understand a mechanical knowledge that was like a heavenly book at all. What kind of mechanical changes, flesh and blood machinery, chip transformation and upgrading, etc., she can be said to have understood 9 out of 10, and the remaining 1 was unknown. Seeing this, Wu Sixi touched Yu Xianglu's elbow with her arm, revealing a smile on her face. Instead, Yu Yang was staring at the Teodi on Chen Wei's desk, which had transformed into a small dragon. Is this the mechanical pet that the captain just contracted? Just as he was thinking, Teodi, who was using a smart chip to download the teacher's course materials, looked up at him. What a terrifying aura, Yu Yang's pupils shrank, and in a trance, he seemed to see a giant dragon that looked down on everything in the world and was the only one in the sky and on the earth, staring at him closely. In an instant, his heart beat rapidly, his body could not move, and even his skin all over his body had goosebumps because of the unspeakable terrifying life gap. Focus and study hard, Chen Wei, who noticed something was wrong, slapped Teoti's head. Roar, Teoti lowered his head and looked submissive. At the same time, Yu Yang relaxed his body and couldn't help but let out more breath of foul air. Sorry, Teoti is a bit overbearing. It doesn't like the people staring at it all the time. Chen Wei turned his head to Yu Yang and said. No, it's my problem. Yu Yang shook his head. High-level pets have their own tempers to a certain extent. It is indeed a bit rude for him to stare at Teoti like this. This unknown Teoti is most likely a dominant race. It seems that the gap between me and the captain has not only not narrowed, but has become larger and larger. Yu Yang smiled bitterly in his heart. The bell rang, and Teacher Wang did not delay the class. He left to get out of class on time. Captain, there will be a club recruiting new members at Rosewood Square at 3 p.m. Should we go and take a look? Wu Yaojin suggested. The military training has ended a long time ago. Just call my name, Chen Wei said. Before Wu Yaojin could speak, Yu Xianglu shook her head and whispered, in our eyes, you will always be our captain. Chen Wei smiled helplessly. That's fine, it's just a title, as long as you like it. Hey, speaking of clubs, should we create a beast-controlling club with captains as the main force, occupy a territory in the Rosewood Mountains to earn credits? Yu Yang took the initiative to propose. Compared to joining other clubs, she wanted to work hard with the trustworthy Chen Wei. Hearing this proposal, Wu Sixie's eyes lit up. Yes. Why should we join other clubs? We can also create our own clubs. What do you think, Captain? Seeing that everyone's eyes were focused on him, Chen Wei showed a bitter smile on his face and declined. There are many club affairs, and I may not have so much time to manage them. How about I forget it? No, Yu Zilman objected decisively. Only students ranked in the top 100 of the Ziwei list and Zixing list can create clubs. No one except you is qualified to be the leader. If you feel that you don't have time, I can help you deal with club affairs, Yu Zilman hurriedly persuaded. Chapter 371, Purple Cloud Pill Meeting. Yes, although I don't want to admit it, if it's not you, Chen Wei, who will be the leader, I don't think anyone else is suitable. Wu Sixie spread his hands and made his position clear. It is said that students who create a club and can win honors for Zidian University will receive huge incentives from Zidian University, with an award of about 100,000 credits, which will be distributed over 5 years, with 20,000 credits distributed each year, Yu Xianglu said with full fighting spirit. With Captain Chen Wei leading us, I believe we will definitely be able to win honors at the Alchemy Research Conference next year. Are you guys forcing the issue? Seeing that they decided to create a club in just a few words, Chen Wei couldn't help but complain. After a long time, seeing that everyone was looking at him expectantly without saying a word, Chen Wei thought about it and let out a sigh of helplessness. I see. What kind of club are you going to set up? Anyway, it's just a matter of pulling down key, and it's also a good thing to build a club and pull some credits. If he could recruit a few more talented alchemists, maybe his eyes would become stronger even faster. As for the handling of the affairs of the club, of course, whoever proposes it should solve it. Thinking of this, Chen Wei tilted his head to look at Yu Zilman beside him. Seeing that Chen Wei finally agreed, everyone looked at each other and said in unison, of course it is the Alchemy Club, then let's go. Let's go through the club procedures. Chen Wei clapped his hands and walked directly to the front of the team. Soon, Chen Wei and his party arrived at the gate of the first floor of Bogwin Building, which is the center for the school to manage student clubs. Are you Chen Wei? At this moment, among the 5 or 6 people who had been following Chen Wei, a young man with a burly figure, a shiny head, and a strong temperament just by looking at his appearance suddenly appeared. Who are you? Chen Wei frowned. Hearing this accusatory tone, he knew that the visitor was not friendly. I am Peng Yu, who ranks 10th on the Ziwei list. Although I don't know how you got to the 3rd place on the Ziwei list, as long as we fight, I will know whether you are the real talent or just a name. Hearing this, Chen Wei's expression suddenly became a little strange. It shouldn't be. Zidong University gathers geniuses. How could such a young man appear here? So you are here to challenge me? Don't you know that the ranking of the Ziwei list has a 1-month protection period? Chen Wei looked at the former bald boy in front of him with interest. I don't care about the ranking, I only care about whether you are strong or not. Do you want to fight now? Peng Yu showed an excited smile on his face. Wait, if I'm not wrong, you should not have extra credits to challenge, and want to fight for free, right? Hearing the familiar name Peng Yu, Wu Sixi seemed to think of something and hurriedly stopped him. Oh no, I've been discovered. Peng Yu's expression froze, and a trace of imperceptible embarrassment appeared on his face. In order to prevent the strong on the Zui list from suffering from multiple rounds of battles, thereby affecting their normal practice, the Zui list has a rule. That is, according to the difference in ranking between the challenger and the challenged, the challenger needs to pay 100 credits to fight with a strong man who ranks 3 places lower than him. 500 credits for the strong man who ranks 5 places higher, and 1,000 credits for the strong man who ranks 10 places higher. Peng Yu's pet is a tabby badger with a strong desire to fight. Once the fight begins, it is a cruel fight of exchanging blood and flesh. As a result, except for the important battles related to the ranking of the Zui ranking, no Beastmaster wants to fight with a notorious him. Therefore, in order to challenge a powerful opponent and enjoy fighting to the fullest, Peng Yu, who has exhausted his credits, has to focus on Chen Wei, who has recently become famous. Nonsense, I just doubt the value of his 3rd place on the Zui ranking. If you can defeat me, all the rumors circulating in the school will be broken. Peng Yu looked at Chen Wei seriously and said in a deep voice. Chen Wei smiled. It was the first time he had seen such a shameless person. Rumors don't matter to me. If you want to challenge me, you'd better come back in a month. Remember to bring your credits when you do. As soon as the voice fell, Chen Wei turned around and walked into the Bagwan building with everyone. A student ranked 10th on the Zui list cannot bring any growth to his pet, and he is too lazy to deal with it now. Looking at Chen Wei's gradually disappearing back, Peng Yu left a word and turned away. Tisk, if I had 500 credits, I would have gone to fight Han Wu Guang, who is ranked 1st on the Zui list. So annoying, it seems that I still have to find a boring task to complete this month. You need to show your student's ID to create a club. Looking at this group of young people with unfamiliar faces, the old man in charge of club management said in a businesslike manner. Putting the student's card handed by Chen Wei on the machine, the old man's movements paused slightly, and he couldn't help but push his glasses with his hand. Freshman of the class of 1027, Zui 3rd, the old man looked at Chen Wei carefully and said calmly, "What is the name of the club, Captain? You name it." Wu Yaojin took the initiative to propose. "How about Ziksha Club?" "What do you think?" Chen Wei, who was bad at naming, casually said a name. "Ziksha Club," Yu Xianglu repeated softly, then looked up at Chen Wei in surprise. "What a big ambition." Ziksha Dan Club is a national-level medicine refining conference held in Rosewood City every 10 years. The age of participants is limited to under 50 years old, but despite this, every time the Ziksha Dan Club is held, it can attract a large number of master-level alchemists to participate. But the most amazing thing about Ziksha Dan Club is that it has produced 2 master alchemists who won the championship at the age of less than 50, and one of them is Chen Wei's senior sister Tanzuking. Now that Chen Wei named the name of the medicine refining club Ziksha Club, isn't it just that she is expecting that a master-level alchemist will appear in the club they established? Obviously, Yu Xianglu is not the only one who has this idea. Yu Zhoumin, Wu Sixi and others also applauded. "Very good, let's call it Ziksha Club." Seeing that everyone was satisfied with the name he had chosen, Chen Wei nodded slightly. "I have entered all the information of your club into the file, but because you chose the Alchemy Club, you still need to complete an assessment to prove the strength of the club." The old man exchanged the certificate with Chen Wei. "What assessment?" Chen Wei raised his eyebrows. "Sure enough. The huge amount of credits is not so easy to get. It's very simple. Develop or improve a new 4th-level elixir within half a year, and your Ziksha Club can be officially established," the white-haired old man said lightly. "Everyone, develop a new elixir formula? Is this really a task that students can complete? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 372 Weird Little Jin. Seeing everyone's eyes looking at him expectantly, Chen Wei shook his head helplessly. "Don't look at me. Just because I can refine a 4th level elixir doesn't mean I can create a brand new 4th level elixir recipe, but if it's just to improve the elixir recipe, I can give it a try, Chen Wei said uncertainly. Upon hearing this, Yu Yang looked at Yu Xianglu the first time. He knew that his cousin was recently improving the 4th level middle grade, Kingson Pill, with the help of the alchemy teacher, and even the research work has entered the final stage. If this 4th level elixir recipe is used to complete the club assessment, it must be a good thing. Sensing his cousin's thoughts, Yu Xianglu hesitated for a moment, and then took the initiative to speak under the surprised eyes of everyone. Captain, I have a 4th level middle grade elixir recipe that I am researching. If you help, maybe I can quickly overcome it. Maybe we can use it to complete the club establishment assessment. No need for this, I have my own way to solve it. Chen Wei frowned and refused decisively. Yu Xianglu is ignorant, and he can't be ignorant. 3 months later is the day when the National College Alchemy competition will begin. As the captain of the team, he knows very well how much effort Yu Xianglu has made to win honors for the school in the alchemy competition. No matter what, he will not use the entries that his teammates have carefully prepared for a long time to pass the club assessment. Anyway, the group assessment has a 6-month probation period, and Chen Wei feels that there is no need to rush. Of course, if you think this task is too difficult, you can change the club type to Beast Battle. The group assessment of this kind of club is relatively easy. You only need to defeat a 4th level upper level commanding beast to be officially established. Seeing that everyone frowned, the old man said another option. With the strength of the 4th place on the Zui list, it must be easy to defeat a 4th level upper level commanding beast. Just the alchemy club, no need to change it. Chen Wei glanced around and saw the reluctance on everyone's face, and decided on the spot. Since we are going to create a club, of course we have to choose the alchemy club that is easiest to pull Genki. Life at Rosewood University was relatively peaceful. In the next 10 days, Chen Wei either focused on classes or used the power of the dragon to strengthen his pets. As for the training of pets, the self-conscious K Ling and Yu Tong did not need his supervision to complete the training tasks perfectly. On the contrary, Tamed has developed a strange habit recently. In addition to devouring the source power and skills of the battle angel every 3 days, Tamed uses part of its body components to transform into a mechanical fishing rod every evening, and then fishes directly in the stream of the spiritual plant space that is less than half a meter deep without putting bait. Swish, a golden light jumped up from the clear stream, and then fell into the water with a plop, and even a lot of splashing water fell on Tamed by the stream. And that beautiful golden figure was Xiaojin, who had been traveling in the spiritual plant space. Give up, Tamed. You can't catch Xiaojin without bait and source power. Chen Wei said to the persistent Tamed while watching Bai Luo pick up the watering can to water the spiritual plants on the medicine field. The master said that as long as I can catch Xiaojin, I can eat it. Tamed looked up at Chen Wei with a bit of desire in his tone. And according to the deduction of the intelligent brain, as long as I persist every day, there is a 0.00001% chance of catching Xiaojin. Hearing this, Chen Wei looked at Tamed in surprise. Although Xiaojin is just an ordinary pet beast, its IQ is not very high, but it still has some ability to distinguish danger. You almost threw Xiaojin into your mouth and ate it the first time you met. How can you catch Xiaojin without bait and source power to seduce pet beasts? You don't really think Xiaojin is an ordinary red-tailed goldfish with a low IQ, right? Although Xiaojin had only been strengthened by the power of the dragon several times, its intelligence had now grown to a level that was almost comparable to that of humans. Roar, Tamed wants to eat. Even while talking, Taode's eyes were always following Xiaojin's movements in the stream. I really admire you. Forget about K Ling and Yu Tong. After all, it's normal for snakes and cats to eat fish, but even you can't forget Xiaojin. Isn't this a bit too much? After Chen Wei complained, he activated his delusion-breaking spiritual eyes again and looked at Xiaojin in the stream. Name of pet, Xiaojin. Red-tailed goldfish. Attributes of pet, dragon. Racial level, low level ordinary. Racial skill, water leap. Strength level, juvenile level 6. The information obtained is normal. Xiaojin is just an ordinary red-tailed goldfish. Even though he has been staying in the spiritual plant space with rich source power, his strength has only increased by 3 levels after so long. This worrying progress speed is not even as fast as the coyote dog that can become stronger by eating soil. Chen Wei closed his delusion-breaking spiritual eyes and muttered. Chen Wei is not stupid. On weekdays, he can see that something is wrong with Xiaojin from the occasional desire of K Ling, Yu Tong, Bai Luo and even Tao Tai, but he can't see what the problem is. These days, in order to test whether it is Xiaojin's problem or the problem of the red-tailed goldfish race, he not only bought 2 red-tailed goldfish at the Zitan City Aquaculture Market, but also went to the reservoir owner to buy 10 red-tailed goldfish. As expected, the red-tailed gold bought from the aquatic product market or the reservoir owner could not arouse the desire of K Ling and Yu Tong, and even the greedy Teodi was not interested in taking a look. But the more this happened, the more curious Chen Wei was about Xiaojin's existence. Otherwise, he might have fed Xiaojin to K Ling long ago, and then observed what kind of transformation K Ling would undergo as a result. The strengthening effect of the power of the dragon is average, and even the primary and intermediate dragon crystals can only improve Xiaojin's strength by 1 level. Should I try the advanced dragon crystal? Chen Wei looked at Xiaojin swimming freely in the clear stream in the distance and fell into deep thought. If he could sell a high-level dragon crystal, it could at least sell for 100 million or 200 million star coins. Chen Wei was still a little reluctant to use such a large fortune for testing. What's more, he now has 4 pets that need high-level dragon crystals to cultivate, which is not enough. Think of other ways. Thinking of the end, Chen Wei sighed silently. At the beginning, even the second-level K Ling could hardly digest the high-level dragon crystal, let alone Xiaojin, who is now only at the 6th level of the larval stage. Even if Xiaojin can digest the high-level dragon crystal, the tremendous energy that bursts out is not something a larval stage pet can withstand. Chapter 373 The banquet begins. Time passed quickly, and soon 10 days had passed. There were still 2 days until Grandmaster Han held the promotion celebration. As time approached, the news that Chen Wei, the top freshman of this year, was recruited as a disciple by Grandmaster Han spread like wildfire. Even though Chen Wei had been immersed in cultivation recently, he could still feel the envy of his classmates around him during get out of class. Have you prepared a gift for the celebration? Yu Zilman whispered. Any student in Rosewood University who was interested in alchemy knew the name of Han Jiao, not to mention that Grandmaster Han had recently broken through to the Grandmaster realm, which was almost the pinnacle of alchemy. And such a Grandmaster of alchemy, whose position in the alchemy world was unshakable, was going to formally accept Chen Wei as a disciple. It was conceivable how huge the waves would be. So recently, no student dared to question the value of Chen Wei's ranking 9th on the Purple Star list, because that was purely a provocation to the vision of a Grandmaster alchemist in choosing a disciple. That's why Yu Zilman has recently seen many students who are at the top of the Red Sandalwood double list wanting to chat up with Chen Wei, or trying to build connections. After all, who wouldn't want to have a good relationship with a disciple of a Grandmaster-level alchemist? If he could be favored by Grandmaster Han through Chen Wei and accepted as a disciple, not only would his own value soar, but he would also be able to access Grandmaster-level elixir resources that are almost impossible to find in the outside world. Thinking of these benefits, even Yu Zilman, who is not good at alchemy, was tempted. The gift has been prepared long ago, Chen Wei nodded slightly. Because there are so many things that the master needs to deal with after the breakthrough, he has not had the opportunity to meet Master Han for the second time. Are you interested in the banquet? Let's not talk about anything else. It should be no problem for me to take you into the venue. Chen Wei tilted his head and looked at Yu Zilman. This celebration is very grand. The beast masters who can enter the hall to participate in the banquet can be said to be either rich or noble. Even legendary strongmen that ordinary people can hardly see may show up on the day of the celebration. With the invitation he got from his senior sister, he could just invite a companion to participate in the celebration. Hearing this, Yu Zilman's eyes lit up. She knew that in order to obtain the precious qualification to participate in the promotion celebration of Grandmaster Han, the beast-controlling families in Zitan City alone fought hard, and even many wealthy people offered high prices for the king's pet cubs to obtain the invitation to the celebration, but still could not get an invitation. Isn't this too expensive? Yu Zilman's delicate face showed some hesitation. This quota was too precious, and she really didn't dare to accept it for a while. Don't think too much, it's just a celebration, and I can't sell this quota. If you don't go, it will be a waste. As soon as the voice fell, Chen Wei withdrew his palm from the head of Teodi, ending this unnoticed strengthening of the dragon-controlling power. Yu Zilman pursed her red lips, then smiled slightly, revealing a sweet dimple. Then I won't be polite, after chatting with Yu Zilman. Chen Wei looked at the skills jumping on Teotihuacan's body and showed a satisfied smile on his face. Skill, Starfire Burning, Proficiency, Mastery, Strength Level, Second Order Mid-Level. It has only been more than 10 days, and Teotihuacan has raised his strength by 1 level again through infinite evolution and self-transformation, and has also raised the Starfire Burning learned from the Battle Angel to the Mastery level. You know, the entry-level Starfire Burning can only simply cover the power of the stars on the body or weapons, thereby obtaining 2 to 3 layers of gain effects. The proficient level Starfire Burning can not only materialize the flames transformed by the power of the stars, but also multiply the gain effect. As for the Master level Starfire Burning, it can create something out of nothing and condense fire into objects, directly condensing an indestructible Starfire lightsaber or armor with amazing defense. As a 6th level king skill, it takes a long time for a king pet to master a skill of this level, and it takes a year or 2 to practice it to the mastery level. However, Teotihuacan only took more than 10 days to practice, which was more than a year of hard work for ordinary pets. This terrifying growth rate can be said to be completely ahead of those legendary pets with a very long larval period. Kayling opened her eyes and looked at Teotihuacan, whose momentum was getting stronger day by day. A trace of urgency flashed through her heart, and then she closed her eyes and continued to comprehend the profound Teotihuacan constellation map. As for the 7 greed meditation method that Kayling had previously practiced, she gave it up after Chen Wei obtained the Teotihuacan constellation map. Because compared with the Teotihuacan constellation map with infinite potential, the road ahead has been cut off, and the 7 greed meditation method containing a large number of incomplete ones is no longer suitable for practicing as a main practice. But the Teotihuacan constellation map also has a disadvantage that cannot be ignored, that is, it is difficult to practice without a meditation map. Fortunately, Kayling was able to vaguely sense the star map of Chen Wei's source star space through the connection of the beast control contract, otherwise it would be difficult for her with excellent comprehension to learn this legendary meditation method. There are 7 levels of Qinglong meditation method. Even if Chen Wei has the Teotihuacan constellation map above the source star space as a reference, he has only practiced it to the 1st level. As for Kayling, because the star map perceived through the beast control contract is looming, her progress is also stuck at the same 1st level as Chen Wei. But despite this, the 1st level of the Qinglong constellation map has already strengthened Kayling's mental power and soul more than the 7 greed meditation method that she has mastered to the limit. Don't be too stressed. When you sublimate and evolve to the extreme, I believe that Teotihuacan will not be your opponent in the future. Seeing that Kayling was a little depressed and never entered the state of practice, Chen Wei couldn't help but reach out and touch her head. Next, time quickly came to November 1st, the day when Hanjiao Han Grandmaster celebrated his realm breakthrough. As one of the few great masters in the alchemy world, Hanjiao invited many familiar alchemists to attend the banquet, including her close friends and mortal enemies. In order to avoid accidents, Chen Wei arrived at the venue before the banquet started and presented his gift, the 6th level medium grade Earth Source device, Earth Barrier. This was the gift that Chen Wei finally decided on after asking Sister Tan and considering it for a long time. After all, for a Beastmaster who has just entered the Beast Taming University, a 6th level King Defense Source device is already an extremely precious treasure, and it is more in line with his identity as a civilian. As for higher level treasures, Chen Wei is not without them, such as the 8th level legendary source device, Meteorite Treasure Box, he obtained from the Leng Yunayang ruins. But considering that it is difficult for him to explain the specific source of this treasure, Chen Wei finally chose the Earth Barrier as a gift. Chapter 374, Mountain Range of 10,000 Beasts. There are so many big shots here today. Next to Chen Wei, Yu Zilman, who is wearing light makeup and a pink off-shoulder chiffon skirt, outlining her lovely curves, looked at the big shots in the venue and sighed softly. We are still young, and one day in the future you will be able to become a famous Beastmaster, Chen Wei said seriously when he saw a trace of longing and envy on Yu Zilman's face. Youth is capital. In Shushan City, it may be difficult for Yu Zilman to become a King Beastmaster, but in Zidian University, which has rich resources and strong teachers, everything is possible. You know, Beastmaster training requires not only a lot of resources, but also a lofty ambition. If there is no firm enough belief, it is difficult to build a Beastmaster even if there are a lot of resources. Of course, extremely high-level Beastmaster resources are an exception. In the distant future, Chen Wei does not want him to be green and young forever, but his few friends have already run out of life and look gray-haired. Hearing this, Yu Zilman looked at Chen Wei in surprise, as if she couldn't believe that he had such a high opinion of her, and then a faint smile appeared on her delicate face. Of course, at this time, a beautiful woman in a gorgeous dress, smiling, with long golden hair slightly curled and flowing down, waved to Chen Wei. Chen Wei lowered his head and said to Yu Zilman, "Senior Sister Tan has something to ask me. Do you want to go with me to say hello, Teacher Tan?" Looking at the class teacher in the distance, who was elegant and unique even among the many strong people in the venue, Yu Zilman nodded excitedly. Although she was the monitor of the alchemy class 1, because a big shot like Professor Tan was usually busy, Teacher Jin Lan was responsible for teaching most of the time, so until now she had only met Professor Tan once. Senior Sister Tan, Teacher Tan, Chen Wei and Yu Zilman walked up together to say hello, and their eyes inadvertently glanced at the man and woman sitting solemnly beside the senior sister. One was a boy wearing a white shirt, with fair skin and a somewhat androgynous look, while the other was a girl with short blonde hair, delicate features, and a red chiffon shirt on her upper body, with a bulging chest. "Brother Chen, let me introduce you to the two new disciples of the teacher, Su Chengshan and Lu Kaiyan," Tan Zuking introduced. Upon hearing these two names, Chen Wei's heart moved slightly. Su Chengshan, who ranked second on the Purple Star ranking, and Lu Kaiyan, who ranked first on the Purple Star ranking? "Hello, Brother Chen, I have heard of you for a long time," Lu Kaiyan called out sweetly. Seeing Lu Kaiyan so easily calling a boy 5 years younger than him brother, Su Chengshan's face flashed with a trace of hesitation, but he had no choice but to grit his teeth and call out. In addition, Tan Zuking also took Chen Wei to meet the teacher's disciples one by one. There was the fifth senior sister Hong Qing, who is a tutor at Liushu University and an associate professor, and the sixth senior sister Lu Shuang, who is a tutor at Zhejiang University and an associate professor. Even Liu Menging, who hadn't seen her for a long time, came to the venue with her sister Liu Xiaotuang. After a brief greeting, Liu Menging said with interest, "I heard from Senior Sister Tan that you evolved the titanium crystal puppet into a new race. Can I take a look?" The future she observed with her innate talent sometimes came true and sometimes turned into nothing, so she now wanted to know whether the seedling she left for Chen Wei had walked towards the Emperor's path according to the predetermined steps. If the observation came true, perhaps they would have the opportunity to open a priceless super treasure. Here, Chen Wei glanced around. "No hurry, let's see after the celebration is over," Liu Menging shook his head. "Long time no see, little junior brother." The Grau monster dragon, who had just arrived at the venue, immediately found Chen Wei. Looking at the colorful and cute miniature dragon in front of him, Chen Wei blinked his eyes, with a hint of surprise on his face. He didn't expect that Brother Grau would be so cute after shrinking his body size, and he didn't have the domineering and arrogance he had when they first met. "I recently found an interesting treasure in the 10,000 Beasts mountain range. Are you interested? If you are interested, we brothers can go there to explore together, and I will give you half of the treasure, Brother Grau. Chen Wei will learn alchemy from me during this period." Tan Zuking frowned when she heard this, and couldn't help interrupting. "Don't worry, with me here, Brother Chen Wei will definitely be fine." Grau's strange dragon looked up at Sister Tan, his expression very firm. He knew very well what Tan Zuking was worried about. It was nothing more than fear of accidents. After all, the 10,000 Beasts mountain range is a very dangerous place for the King Beast Master, not to mention Chen Wei, who is only the 4th level of the Source Star. A new Beast Master teams up with the Overlord. "Are you serious, Brother Grau?" Tan Zuking didn't understand. With Grau's strength, taking Chen Wei to the 10,000 Beasts mountain range would be no different from taking a burden, and he wouldn't get any help at all. After hearing Grau's proposal, not to mention Chu Shui, even Hong Qing and Lu Shuang looked back and forth between Chen Wei and Grau thoughtfully, with some shock in their eyes. It was strange that Brother Grau, who had always been aloof, would take the initiative to invite people, and even give half of the treasures. This was unprecedented. Ignoring Tan Zuking's inquiry and the strangeness in everyone's eyes, Grau waited expectantly for Chen Wei's reply. "Treasure land," Lu Kaiyan's eyes flashed, and she said in a sweet tone, "Brother Grau, can you take me with you?" Su Chengshan, who was standing by, tightly grasped the wine glass in his hand and looked at Chen Wei with some envy, but he did not take the initiative to ask Grau like Lu Kaiyan did, even though he actually wanted to have a good relationship with Brother Grau. After all, everyone in the sect knew that Brother Grau was the ceiling of the combat power among the epic overlords, and he was only one step away from the 8th level legendary emperor. This is a matter between me and Brother Chen Wei. Grau glanced at Liu Kaiyan and refused. Hearing this, Liu Kaiyan quickly picked up the water cup and took a sip to hide the embarrassment on his face. Everyone looked at each other. That's right, this is the taste, this is the character that Brother Grau should have. Brother Grau, can you tell me more about that treasure land? Thinking of the fireproof beads he was wearing, Chen Wei asked. As a famous gathering place for exotic beasts in Nanjiang province, the majestic mountain range has been shrouded by the Hongji Xianzhuan secret realm, Wanqiao Mountain, until now. The Wanqiao Mountain range is full of dangers, and even 7th level overlord exotic beasts occasionally appear. Even Chen Wei, who has been obsessed with cultivation recently, can hear a lot of news about the Wanqiao Mountain range from the students around him. Chapter 375, Infinite Red Dragon. I recently got a treasure map, and the location is in the 10,000 Beasts mountain range. At this point, Grau used his dragon claws to reach behind him, and a half-meter-long old map suddenly appeared in his hand. According to the treasure map data, the legendary strongman Wei Heguang's life treasure is buried here, and there are even dragon eggs from his pet 9-layer rock dragon. Brother Grau tapped the red dot on the treasure map with his fingertips, and his tone was a little excited. Dragon eggs, hey, I haven't eaten them for a long time. This stuff is steamed and smells so good. Looking at the surrounding gazes, as well as Liu Kaiyan and Su Chengshan's excited heartbeats, Chen Wei supported his forward in silence. Can such a thing really be said so clearly in public? He just wanted to get some information, not let Brother Grau tell all the truth. Now it is estimated that even the beast masters at the next table have heard the news that the Overlord Dragon Egg appeared in the 10,000 Beasts mountain range. With Brother Grau's strength, I'm afraid he won't need me, right? Chen Wei asked, the doubts hidden in his heart. During this period, I went to the 10,000 Beasts mountain range 3 times, but I couldn't find the entrance to the treasure land. Now I just need a trustworthy person to lead the way for me. Grau scratched his head helplessly. If he could take it all by himself, he would have dug deep into the ground to pack up all the treasures on the map. Now he can't find the way, so he can only find a little junior brother who he likes to lead the way. Hearing this, Chen Wei looked at senior brother Grau in surprise. It's really incredible. A powerful person like senior brother Grau, who can scan the terrifying existence of a place in a single thought, is actually a dragon with a poor sense of direction? Or does senior brother Grau not understand the map at all? Is it okay? Just one sentence. If not, I'll find someone else. Seeing that Chen Wei didn't respond for a long time, Grau became a little impatient. No problem, but I have to attend the alchemy conference recently. When do you plan to leave, senior brother? After thinking about it, Chen Wei nodded and asked. Then let's set the time for a month later, Grau said. At this time, the banquet officially began. Master Han, who was petite, with silver hair falling vertically to his waist like a waterfall and an imposing manner, stepped onto the main stage of the venue. Master has become stronger again. Looking at the back of his teacher, Chen Wei's pupils shrank. Unlike the plainness he had felt before, he only felt that he was now facing an endless and turbulent sea. Earth-level spiritual realm? Or the legendary heaven-level spiritual realm? Chen Wei guessed in his heart. The banquet went on quickly. According to the process of the apprenticeship ceremony, he would present a flawless performance battle for his master, and his opponent was a talented master beastmaster. Soon, after teacher Han Jiao came on stage to give a speech, the banquet entered the second stage of the apprenticeship ceremony. In the introduction, Han Jiao did not hesitate to praise Chen Wei and directly praised him as a rare beastmaster genius. Please welcome my disciple Chen Wei and his opponent Ji Ren. As Han Jiao's voice fell, a ring about 100 meters long and wide slowly rose in the center of the venue. Next, let's appreciate the power of the new generation. Under the gaze and enthusiastic applause of many powerful people, Chen Wei showed an excited smile on his face, and then strode towards the stage specially built for him by his master. At this time, a young man in a black short-sleeved shirt had already stood on the ring. He looked at Chen Wei with a bit of scrutiny and seriousness. Ji Ren? Isn't this the graduate of Zidane University this year, and the genius beastmaster who has always been in the top 3 of the Zhui list? A black-haired old man looked at the opposite platform with interest. Let Ji Ren go on the stage. This kid doesn't know what it means to let him go when fighting. Isn't Master Han afraid that Chen Wei will fail? Interesting, I didn't go to the qualifying competition of Zidane University this year. It seems that this time I can see the value of the third place on the Zhui list. For a moment, the strong people present were all interested in this performance battle. In the exhibition match between freshmen and graduates, the teacher really trusts junior brother Chen Wei. Liu Menging looked at the confident Chen Wei on the stage, with a sense of urgency in his eyes. It has only been more than a year, and Chen Wei has transformed from a rookie beast master to a master who can rival the master level. If another year passes, I am afraid that even I will not be Chen Wei's opponent. As for now, Liu Menging, who is at the peak of the 5th level master, still has enough confidence to suppress Chen Wei. Seeing Liu Menging staring at Chen Wei in a daze, Tan Zuking couldn't help but smile and said, "Junior sister Liu's vision is still as good as ever." During this period, the teacher has praised the disciples you introduced, not to mention the teacher, suddenly encountering such a talented alchemy genius. Even she, who has always been calm, is a little eager to love talents. I wish I could lock Chen Wei in the alchemy room to make medicine every day, so as to hone a master or even a grandmaster alchemist as soon as possible. Hearing this, Liu Menging smiled slightly and said nothing more. Only the teacher knows her innate talent, and even the second senior sister Tan Zuking is not clear. On the stage, Ji Ren ignored the curious eyes of the audience and looked at Chen Wei and said, "I heard that it was an exhibition match. I didn't plan to come, but I heard that you are very strong, even a little outrageous, so I want to try how strong you are. I hope you won't let me down." So arrogant, dare to say such words in front of Master Han. Ji Ren is worthy of being the pride of the Ji family. This is the thought that came out of everyone's mind. "I won't let you down," Chen Wei smiled. After Yu Tuang defeated the 5th level middle level Han Liuli dragon, Chen Wei knew that with his strength, he could already sweep away any master level beastmaster. Of course, the master level beastmaster who contracted the Emperor race's pet is an exception. But it is obvious that Ji Ren in front of him is not within this range. After all, the Emperor's pet is hard to find even for epic masters, let alone a master level beastmaster like Ji Ren. The game begins. Following the command of the exhibition match referee Chu Shui, the red light of the star ring on Ji Ren's finger flashed, and a ferocious dragon figure suddenly appeared from the dazzling red rune array. Its head and back were brown-red, and at first glance it looked a bit like a red dragon among the 5-color dragon species. It was about 10 meters long, with 2 white horns growing on its head. A pair of black giant wings covered with red bone spurs spread out from its back, and its body was covered with red dragon scales that looked like copper and iron. There was a faint dark purple flame at the end of its slender dragon tail. As it raised its head and roared, a domineering dragon power instantly spread throughout the entire platform. Directly summoned the ace pet Wuji Red Dragon. It seems that Ji Ren intends to go all out in this exhibition match. The eyes of the Beastmasters in the audience lit up. As the saying goes, watching the excitement is not too big a deal, and the more intense the pet battle, the better. P.S. Thank you to the Whale Coffin Priest for the 2,000 starting coins. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.